so much for joining
What's
us.
The real one.
Really, yeah, real one for real. Really appreciate your time. We know you're not from Miami, but you came down here for us, so it's always appreciated.
100%.
So where are you from?
Originally, I'm from New York.
Born and raised in New York?
Yeah, born and raised in New York, in Brooklyn, New York. And then I moved down here when I was 18.
Oh, damn, okay.
Yeah, and I moved to Hollywood, and I kind of bounced around Broward for the most part. I never really lived in Miami.
Why'd you move down from New York?
Oh, man.
18 is like, that's a big move at 18.
New York was
life-changing.
New York was harsh, dude. Like, it was like super harsh. Like, down there's a lot of like code you have to live by, at least for me, because of where I lived wasn't the greatest area. So like I couldn't wear red on certain blocks. I can't wear blue on certain blocks. I know what time I have to take a certain train if I am wearing colors like that. Because the gang violence, like, they care about the colors. You don't wear blue on the blood block. You don't wear blood on the blue block. Like,
yeah. You're wearing all white today. You know, all white in Miami.
Yeah. It's part of the whole, like, going against the grain as far as, like, magicians go. Like, I don't want to be that magician in all black.
Oh, all white in Miami is a big thing, especially in Little Havana.
Yeah.
All the Cubans are wearing all white.
I know Cuban.
Oh, definitely. And you got the cigar, too. That's a Santero vibes right there.
You're repping, bro.
So how was 18 years old from New York to Miami? How was that? Well, New York to Hollywood. Big change, I'm assuming, right? Like way slower lifestyle?
It was, but it was nice. It was nice not having to like look over my shoulder every 5 seconds. People were nicer here. I know, like, I hear a lot of people be like, oh, they're not so nice down here. But people were definitely nicer here.
They're definitely nicer more up north, for sure.
You think so?
100%, yeah.
Yeah, in Broward?
In Broward, okay, yeah, in Broward, yes. I thought you meant, like, up north New York.
No, I meant up north and, yeah, like, Miami's its own thing. That's what I've heard. How was the weather, though? You missed the cold at all?
No, not at all.
I feel you.
Not at all. It's nice to look at like the snow when it blankets and everything, but other than that, I do not miss the snow at all. It's nice not to have to shovel and change my clothes and have to worry about snowfall. No, I'm good. This is paradise.
You're in the right place.
Yeah, definitely.
It is paradise.
It's the best place.
Yeah.
It is paradise.
Now, when it gets 50 here, it's like, oh my God, we're miserable. It's a bad time.
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah.
I've never even seen snow, so you can imagine.
Really?
Yeah.
Same.
Never seen snow.
Yeah, bro.
Nah. I mean, I love traveling, but when I do, it hasn't been to see snow.
You have to go to New York on like
Christmas
during like the
vibes?
winter. Yeah, Christmas vibes.
Yeah, I would love to
It's
do that.
beautiful.
Are you out there in Times Square, like when it's going on?
No.
Or it's too hectic?
No,
It's too-
I don't even go back to New York.
Okay.
I don't want to go back. I love it here.
Do you still have family up there, or they all moved down?
I have family up there. My mom and my dad is down here, and my sister. But I still have family up there and whatnot. But there's really no point in me ever going back.
Yeah.
So what got you into magic? Was that something that you picked up after moving, or it's been with you your whole life?
Oh man, what can I say? So I was 4, and I thought I had superpowers. Like I literally thought I was like one of those comic book like characters. I would stare at something like a lighter, and just like wait for it to like fall, and it would never fall. And I was like, I'm never gonna have superpowers. And the one day that magic happened for me, I was in pre-K, and I was staring at a plate and it moved, and I was like, no fucking way. I can curse on the podcast?
Of course,
bro.
bro.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I don't have to.
It's your podcast.
Yeah, it's your podcast.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
So I was like, no fucking way. But you know, I'm maybe 4 at this moment, and then it happened again. I was like, oh, and I told all my friends, I was like, come here. Look what I could do. And I'm staring at it, and I'm like, and the plate's moving, right?
Wow.
You wanna know what it was?
The AC?
No, it was the wind from the fucking windows
Hell yeah.
coming through from the windows in the classroom. But nobody knew that.
Oh,
Yeah.
So all my friends are like super impressed, and I'm like, what else can I try to make it look like I'm doing?
Yeah.
And it just freaking roller coaster from there.
Wow, that's early, bro. Pre-K.
Yeah.
No, magic is dope. Like magic, like I've only ever met one magician in my life, so to see it in person, like what you did to us earlier, was insane, bro. Like,
Yeah,
that doesn't make
it's
sense.
Mind blowing. When did you get your first magic kit? Because I was into magic when I was a kid too. In elementary school, I forgot what grade, but I got my first big like magician like set.
I got it from my cousin, who I like consider like a brother. He got me my first magic set. It's something he had and he just gave to me because he was like, I'm never gonna use this. So
How old were you?
oh man, I was maybe like 5, 6. And to be honest, I never really used it. There was like a couple tricks I used that like impressed some of the kids on the block. I never really used it. A lot of the time that I spent trying to learn stuff, I would like play with coins and like just play with them. Coin magic was probably one of the first things I did. And I would just learn how to make a coin vanish or something like that. And like people would just be like, oh my God, how'd you do that? And then little by little, I just like started picking up little things that I could do, because there was I couldn't go to a magic shop. I didn't know about any magic shops when I was a kid. There's no such thing as YouTube back then, so you couldn't look it up on YouTube. There's no DVDs back then. We had VHSs, so like, I had to make stuff up. So a lot of what I did growing up, I made up on my own until I went to my first magic shop, and then I got my first like trick deck of cards that I would use, and that was a total fail for me too. I sucked at magic when I started.
How old were you when you went to the I almost said smoke shop,
The magic shop.
Damn, how old was I? I was young. I probably was around like 9. My first magic shop. It wasn't even a magic shop. It was in a big Toys R Us in New York, and it had a little Marvin's Magic section, and that's what I like. I got my first little kit that my mother bought for me. Actually, no, she didn't buy me the kit that day. The guy gave me this trick, which I can actually show you a version of it with a lighter.
Definitely.
Almost everything, bro.
He gave me this trick because, like, you know, we didn't have a lot of money, so like my mom couldn't afford like $100 freaking magic set. So he gave me one trick. He's like, "You keep it," and he taught me how to do it. And then I like blew everybody at school's mind there doing that.
With a lighter at 9?
A lighter?
Yeah, no, it wasn't a lighter. It was like these little paddles. But you would make a gem jump from one paddle to the next. And so I can do it right now.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, please, bro. Please do.
Doesn't make sense right now.
I mean, I could do. This is my lighter, but so you know how lighters, they usually have like the warning sticker on the back and stuff. I took the warning sticker off, but there's always a Bic sticker on the front and back. They always have the logos and stuff. So a lot of the times, this is actually a sticker. So we'll take one side. We'll take one side off. Okay.
That was magic.
No, it wasn't magic. That's just a sticker. So, and we'll take the other one. Okay. Strip the adhesive off. There we go. So now you have a plain lighter.
Sure.
Right? So sometimes, if you were actually just to wave it, just like that, you actually get the Bic
Nah, bro.
to come back.
No.
Now, a lot of people think that that's just one sticker because the other one's not there.
Yeah.
But you can actually just replicate it, and now you have both. And I'll actually do it slow for you, so you can actually see it's actually there. Now, sometimes you can wipe it off. You can wipe it off entirely, and it's still not there, and then just throw it back on. And wipe off one side here.
I feel like a little kid.
Yo, bro.
Let me see. Is this a real lighter?
It's a real lighter, I promise.
Damn, nah, right in front of us. Like,
I didn't even know this was a sticker. I don't think it is, bro. I don't think this is a sticker.
he just ripped. Oh, it's not a sticker.
Yeah, like, cause
No, yeah, it's on here.
You could do it with a cigar too.
That's insane.
do what with a cigar? How are you gonna do it with a cigar? What is it that you're doing?
Is it good to smoke Sharpie?
I'm thinking that.
Nothing.
Okay, so 2 X's. All right, so I got an X here. All right, an X here. and sometimes you could just rub that off and it's entirely gone out. You probably think it's on the other side. I promise you, it's gone entirely. So, and then you could just make it come right back, right there.
You're a badass.
This is impossible, bro. What the fuck is going on right now? Yo, how did you do that?
How long do you think it takes someone to perfect like a simple trick like that? Like
That's
not that it's simple, but
A lot of the magic that I do is like ever changing, and I constantly have to adapt. So like, there's not one trick that I say I have mastered fully. I've come close to it, but I only do really like a series of like maybe 8 or 9 tricks, and I know thousands.
yeah.
But there's like, I'm not gonna sit there and do 1,000 tricks for a group of people. It's just not reasonable to do.
I get you. No. You pick the ones that hit the hardest.
You pick the ones that hit the hardest and ones that you know how to present the best. You know, you can do one trick and absolutely floor someone, and you can do 20 tricks and they'll be like, eh. So it all depends on like presentation and how you control your audience.
It's just crazy to me that trick it's mind-blowing to me, and that's the one that you learned when you were a kid in you said like a small shop.
Yeah, it was at the big Toys R Us.
So that's like mind-blowing to me, because if that's what a kid is learning at Toys R Us, like what else do you have up your sleeve, bro? This is crazy.
Literally, what do you have up your sleeves, dog?
I don't think I want to know.
Nothing.
No, yeah. Damn.
So there's different levels to magic, right? There's like the basic magician where you have the card tricks and the rabbit out of the hat. But then there's people like David Blaine. So like, when did you know that you wanted to be not just a magician, but like a David Blaine type of person?
So
that's a
damn,
whole
I
nother
was
level.
super young when I saw him too. I don't know how old I was when I first saw his like first ever special, but I watched him and I was like, that's what I want to be. I want to be a David Blaine. And it never left my head. Like, I always like looked up to him growing up, and I had the pleasure of actually meeting him when I was around 12 at a magic shop.
Randomly?
Huh?
Randomly, or you knew he was going to be there?
Randomly, but they kind of hired me as like the runner. I would run like packages back and forth from the mail office back to the magic shop, and that's what I would do for them, package stuff up for them, help them move stuff around the magic shop. And he would come, I think, every month and sign his decks. He had come out with his own deck of cards, and he would come and he would just sign them, and we would sell them for more because they're signed. And as he's signing them, he would sit with me and he would actually just talk to me about his philosophy of like why he does certain things, and he never taught me anything, but just talking to him and understanding how he thinks and why he does the things that he does and how he comes up with these ideas was probably one of the best things in my life. And I was like, I went from watching him on TV to meeting him in person, and now I'm like, I'm definitely want to be like this guy.
What an impact! Like, he's like top of the game. Like, you think of magicians like on TV, like he's one of the main ones, and you're there sitting having conversations with him. Like,
He's definitely, I mean, if anyone is to coin real magic, I would say it's him, because the stuff he does is not TV edited. You know, he's actually sitting inside of a tank of water. He's actually standing on, you know, a tower for however many days he did. He's actually sticking an ice pick in his hand. Like, these are the things he's actually doing. And of course it's like biological, but to other people it's like real magic, and there's no trick to it.
At that point, it's not magic, it's mentalism. Like, it's in your mind, right? Or is that still considered magic? Or
It's still considered magic, I guess, but it's more considered like stunt magic.
Okay.
Like, what he does is like more stunts.
Stunt. Okay, I got you.
But I was watching a Joe Rogan podcast with him in it, and he's a very interesting person. And what he was saying is that, like EJ's saying, it's like beyond magic, it's real life, and he has to really prepare for these things because, like you said, it's not TV editing. If something goes wrong, then magicians die. Like, he goes through, and also he goes through a lot of fasting that he talked about. That was insane to me. That I didn't even know humans could go fasting for that long. And he'll do training for his breath as well. That he literally said that he got so good at holding his breath that you understand you're gonna pass out, but you're not gonna die. So when you understand that, it allows you to hold your breath for way longer than you ever thought you could.
Yeah, I actually passed out holding my breath once. Because I'm planning on doing a stunt. My goal was to do it at the Hard Rock, but I want to be underwater for 7 days. Yeah, and I already actually put down a deposit on a tank.
That's kind of what he did.
To have a tank built. Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna do it?
Yeah. No, I do stunts.
Oh my God, we're out there, bro.
Yeah. I'm there 100%. When is this?
I don't know. Like, I haven't spoken to Hard Rock, but this is something that I want to do.
Yeah.
And if not at the Hard Rock, I want to do it somewhere where there's a lot of people that come to that area, whether it's in Miami or Broward, wherever.
The Fountain Blue, bro.
Anywhere popping, bro. It would work anywhere.
So, is this gonna happen this year, like 2023, or?
I don't think so. I have a lot of projects I'm working on right now that it's been put on a back burner due to COVID and due to some of the other projects that I put as priority. So.
Yeah.
Well, so when you're in a tank for 7 days, that goes to what I was saying with David Blaine. Like, you're not gonna eat for 7 days, basically. Right?
Oh, you don't eat for more than that.
For 7 days. To me,
for
that's
more than that,
already
you're not eating for like 2 weeks.
It's because you don't gotta use it. Like, you gotta make sure you're not.
Because you
gotta
make sure you pass everything before you get in the tank. So at least a week prior, you're not eating.
Yeah.
You're on straight fluids.
Damn.
And you're underwater in a tank.
Mm-hmm.
So are you like
For 7 days
touching water, or are you just under the water in a tank?
No, I'm like the water is touching my body and everything. So I'll be in the water.
But how are you breathing?
I'll have an
through,
oxygen mask.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, no, I'm not him. I can't hold my breath for 20 minutes.
Yeah, but
That
I
is
would love
something-
to, but
that is something he did though. He mentioned that where he was underwater in a tank, and the same thing, he couldn't eat. He talked about fasting because, like you said, you have to empty out your body. There can't be anything inside you.
yeah, he's the best at it. He's the best that's ever done it. He probably will ever do it, but
Yeah.
I could try.
No, I believe in you, bro. Like, I've seen already what you're doing, and it's probably close to that level. Like, so do you think you would rather be like a street magician or be doing these giant stunts for people? Like, which one?
I
gives you
don't want to
better
be a
pleasure?
street magician for much longer. That's kind of how I built my following. Like, where I'm at now in my career, I'll tell you how I got coined #1 magician in Miami. It's something I gave myself. I wasn't the #1 magician in Miami, but there was not one magician out here going out to the streets, filming, doing magic, and posting it. And I was telling people, shout me out as a #1 magician in Miami. So you do that 50, 100 times over, and guess what? Those 100 people be like, when they're like, oh, we should have a magician for a party. They're like, oh, I know the #1 magician in Miami. No one.
But I think you are.
That's genius marketing. But I get.
Yeah,
I get.
that's
I get
all
where
it
you're
was. It
coming
was
from.
just a marketing ploy.
Yeah.
And then people like started just saying you're the #1 magician in Miami, and then I started getting phone calls from companies being like, "Oh, we heard you're the #1 magician in Miami." Yeah, 100%. And then they would hire me, and my rate went from making $250 or $200 for an hour or 2 hours to about $1,000 for an hour. It was a huge jump. And the craziest part is that people stopped complaining about my rate. When I was charging $200, people complained, oh, can you lower the price? Can you do this? I don't have one complaint about my rate now. So it's insane how just marketing to the right people and to the right clientele changes your whole structure as to like the business side of it.
Yeah.
This is quality magic, though.
That's what I was gonna say. Is it's what you do is
Very high
quality, and most people, oh, I want a magician just to entertain people. It's like, okay, we'll just get any random one, and we'll, damn, he wants $250. That's a mission. But you're the best magician in Miami. It's like, I'll pay this guy $3K.
And like I'll put money on it that there is not one local magician that is willing to do the stuff that I do. They're not willing to put needles in their face, their jaw. They're not willing to cry glass. They're not willing to eat glass. They're not willing to lay on a bed of nails and get hit with a sledgehammer while they're laying on a bed of nails.
Why are you willing to do that?
Why? I mean, David Blaine. I have him to blame for that. I watched him and I was like, I want to push my body too. The body can do so many incredible things. And believe it or not, a lot of the stuff that him and I do, it's physics. It's physics and mind over matter. Laying on a bed of nails hurts. It does hurt. Having a cinder block smashed on your chest while you're laying on a bed of nails hurts. Having someone stand on you while you're on a bed of nails, that all hurts. You just have to be like, this is temporary. I'm not gonna die. I'm not gonna get hurt. We've practiced plenty of times. This is okay. And you move forward. And then everybody else is amazed because they're like, I would never do that in a million years. Yeah. My mom laid on a bed of nails. That video actually went viral for her birthday.
You made your mom lay on a bed of nails?
Yeah, she was like, I kind of want to do it. And I was like, for real? Yo, I immediately took out my camera. I was like, let's do it right now. Her video went more viral on TikTok than any one of my videos.
No.
You didn't smash a cinder block on her, did you?
No, I didn't smash. No,
okay.
It was my mother. But like, she laid on it, and it went viral than any one of my other videos that I do some crazy stuff on, and that's the one video that just like skyrocketed. It's crazy.
Why do you think that one took off? Like, it's just
I guess because she's an older lady and she laid on.
I can't believe she's doing this. What?
Yeah.
Holy.
And it was kind of funny, the commentary I was making when I was like helping her down.
Yeah.
So.
Fuck, bro. That's crazy, man.
Wow. So let's go back to when you were a kid, because I just wonder, how do you go from loving magic to doing those type of stunts? Like you said, David Blaine had a big impact on you. I feel like the first time you took that like leap, was it a big and scary one for you, or you were just like, this is awesome, I love it?
Wait, going from like the magic to the stunts?
Yeah, because I feel like going from
believe it or not,
from the lighter trick to laying on nails and getting smashed with
like physical harm.
I started stunt magic before I did that trick.
Oh, super young.
I was playing this game, I'll never forget this. It's called SSX Tricky. I don't know if y'all remember that. It was on PlayStation or PlayStation 2.
Okay.
And it was a snowboarding game. But the voices, they had interviews on the disc of the people who did the voices for the characters, and one of them was named Psycho. And he was actually a freak show performer in real life. And he was like, I stick like a spoon in my nose, and he like, on the video, he just stuck a spoon in his nose. And so I immediately paused it, got up, went to the kitchen, stuck a spoon in my nose. And I showed everybody. And my mom freaked out.
What do you mean, stick a spoon in your nose? Like the whole spoon?
No, like not the round part. Not the round part. My nostrils aren't that big.
I was gonna say.
But the
how deep in did it go? And did it hurt?
All the way in.
Did it hurt?
Kind of.
Oh my god.
Not really. Now I hammer a nail into my face.
Whoa, wait. What?
I hammer a nail into my nose, yeah. If you guys have me on a podcast again, I'll actually do it for you guys.
No doubt you're gonna be back.
You're gonna be back.
You're gonna be back. You're gonna be doing. I want all the crazy shit.
Yo, look, so all of our
stunts.
guests always come back. We follow their story and their journey. So you're one day you're gonna be in that tank for 7 days, and we're gonna have you saying this. You know, it's documented. So we would love to have you back. When you do come back, please bring any stunts that you want to do, any tricks that you want to do.
We'll do like a freak show one.
Hell yeah,
Please.
I'll bring like a bunch of like freak show stuff. Or maybe I'll bring the bed of nails so you guys can lay on it and try it.
Bro, bring everything.
Fire.
Bring it all.
Fire. I'll do it, bro.
Bring it all. That's amazing. Have you ever laid down on like fire? Like coal?
No, I haven't laid down on coal. I feel like I would blister my back if I did that. I've walked on coal.
Yeah, I think that's what I meant.
I've walked on coal. I've walked on glass. It's not as bad as you think.
Okay.
So when you say, you said cry glass?
Yeah.
What does that mean? What is that?
Normally, like if I do like a freak show or something like that, like it's specified. I don't just like go to like an event and like start tearing glass, but I'll go to a freak show, and what I'll do is I'll have somebody smash a light bulb. They pick up any piece of glass that they want, and then they place it in my mouth, so I don't touch it in case they think I'm switching it out for candy or anything like that. They place it in my mouth, I eat it, swallow it, and then I proceed to cry the chewed up glass.
But how is this possible? I feel like this,
Knowing anatomy, like it's all connected in a way, but still, it's like, how do you make it go up into your eye and then out? Like, it's
Don't wanna
really
put the
ridiculous.
secrets out on a
No, I know.
podcast.
yeah, I was actually gonna ask
don't
you
know if
that.
I would
So
do that.
I know, I know.
No, I'm just
magicians-
saying it's insane. Like,
well,
it doesn't make
magicians aren't
sense.
supposed to reveal their secrets. How like to the code are magicians on that? Like when it comes to family, like if your family, like your mom wants to know, like, okay, seriously though, how'd you do that? Like you'd tell her.
I think back then it was a lot more stricter. There wasn't as many magicians. We didn't have YouTube. We didn't have like this digital era where you can find everything on the internet. So it was a lot more stricter. Like you had to learn from someone or a book or just create it on your own. Now you can find it all over YouTube and just learn it.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you try to find tricks that are not on YouTube? Because
Oh, there's plenty that's not on YouTube.
yeah, I would imagine.
Because they're like super secretive. There's like now licenses. Like I can't perform certain tricks on TV shows or anything like that without a TV license from the magician who created it.
Interesting.
So we do share stuff with each other on different platforms, but for some magicians, you have to pay a TV licensing fee in order to perform it on television or radio or wherever.
Yeah. Damn. As the number one magician in Miami, like, I'm sure now everybody that wants to be a magician is hitting you up. Like, how often are people hitting you up and, like, asking you to mentor them?
Nobody.
Nobody?
No one.
That's gonna
I
change.
feel like magicians are slacking out here. Where are the magicians at?
They're slacking here.
Yeah.
They're slacking here. And for all the magicians, y'all are slacking. And because there's so much money in Miami, in Florida in general. And I see, I used to do kids magic. I suck at kids magic, I'm just letting you know. I love kids. I just suck at kids magic. I can't entertain them for the life of me. I do have a friend that he does a lot of like family shows, a lot of kid shows, and he's absolutely amazing at it. And he's like propelled his career through that. I just didn't see a profit in it because a lot of families, they're not making as much. So you have to charge less and stuff. So I do mostly like corporate parties, private events. I just did a gala in Tampa. I did the Ryan Callahan gala in Tampa, and it was a great event.
I feel like this is similar to, Tarzan. I think he's also from Miami. He's the one that he's like an animal expert.
Oh, yes.
So
The real Tarzan.
So that's kind of how you start. When you're an animal expert, you go to like kids
Mhm.
parties and you show the kids some snakes, you show them some lizards, you show them like whatever. But he's at the level now that like you're in, where he goes to bigger events, he goes to celebrities' houses, he goes to like very well-known people to show them like these crazy animals.
Yep.
That's like next level.
That's literally what it is. You start out small and then you start slowly integrating yourself into a different bracket. That's what I say.
Yeah, I feel like someone like you could easily one day get hit up by someone like P. Diddy or DJ Khaled and be like, yo, it's my kid's birthday. We want you to be the magician. Pull up to our backyard.
Yep.
Is that kind of what you're trying to get to?
I feel like I'm kind of there
Yeah.
already. I get hit up by companies, a lot of corporate companies that are like, we want you to work for us. There's going to be so-and-so here. There's going to be this celebrity. How I met Elena Cardone and Tory Lanez was, there's this guy named Bitcoin Rodney, and he's this like Bitcoin millionaire out in Miami. And he was throwing this huge Bitcoin event that everybody was going to. So I found his number on Instagram actually, and I called his cell phone and I was like, hey, I saw you're having an event. I'd love to do magic for you guys or open up for you guys, whatever it is, free of charge. And he's like, that sounds like a good idea. Call my marketing team. I'll give you their number. I called them. They said, great. You know what they did? They put my logo all over the hotel. All over the hotel. My logo was there. And they gave me a VIP pass, and that's how I met Tory Lanez and Elena Cardone, but you have to call. You're not going to get anywhere without asking. You might get a no. I've got plenty of no's, but that's how I got there. And then Tory Lanez actually gave me his number. And he's like, I want you to do magic for my daughter.
There you go.
And he actually hit me up. You know, I know he's in jail now, whatever, you know, maybe he shot Megan, maybe he didn't, but, you know, to me, he was nice. He hit me up during the holidays and said Happy Thanksgiving. He was...
Yo, shout out Tory Lanez.
Shout out Tory Lanez.
Free Tory.
Yeah.
The music is fire. The
Free
other
Tory.
stuff is
I mean, who knows?
on that. Yeah. Damn. Who else notable have you done magic for?
Other than Tori and Elena, I did it for CeeLo Green. CeeLo Green. Who else? Justin Silva, the kid with the blue hair, the comedian. I don't know if you, yo, he's like the funniest guy on the internet. I love that kid. Yo, shout out to Justin, cause like, yo, you're the funniest man on the internet. Like,
Gotta check him out for sure.
I love him.
You gotta
he's
get him
awesome.
on the pod.
Yeah,
He's
dude.
from Miami?
He's in Tampa.
Okay.
Or like, no, he's not in Tampa. He's like he's up north, somewhere around that area. But also, super humble guy, and he started from the bottom up.
Yeah.
Just like the rest of us. He started from the bottom up, and like where he's at now, he's flourishing. He's absolutely flourishing.
Damn.
Yeah.
Fuck. You mentioned that you got your first magic kit and you were doing it in the beginning and you were bad. You said it was tough. Like,
Yeah.
it took you. We played sports our entire life, and when you play baseball is like a really tough sport. You're gonna be really bad in the beginning, and it's only through hard work, dedication, going through all those struggles. I'm sure it's very similar to being a magician.
It's difficult because there's so many moving parts. You got to know your angles. You got to know where people are filming, where people are watching from, because like, you know, doing card tricks, a lot of it is angles. So you might get caught doing a move, or you might get caught using a gimmick or whatever the case. I don't use gimmicks really, very few in my magic, but I try to use like stuff like a lighter. It's a regular lighter.
Yeah. No, you can't fake that.
You got to manipulate your hands, the audience. You got to talk at the same time. If you want them to look a certain place, you gotta make them look there. And while you're doing something else, it's really complicated. It's a complicated process. So, yeah, I sucked at it at first.
Yeah.
Terrible.
So how real is magic? Like, cause when you did this, to me, it's like, it seems like real magic, because you showed me 2 big stickers, which they're not stickers. You took them off, and unless you were doing like really good sleight of hand, I guess that's what it was. Like,
Nah,
did you really?
it's
trick
real
me?
magic,
Did you
bro.
really
What are you
trick
talking
me
about?
that much?
It's so when people say, "Is there really real magic?" I think
Because how do
It's-
you? I don't know, bro.
it's an ambiguous like answer. It's on both sides. If we talk about reality, there's really like no such thing as like magic in reality, but it's real.
Yeah.
Because it's real in someone's mind. You know? It's happening inside your head. Your eyes are perceiving it, and you're like, holy shit. That's real. That reaction, that feeling that you're feeling, that's real. So the magic is real. Whether it's sleight of hand, whether it's an illusion, your body and your mind is perceiving it, and that's the realest thing that you can have.
Yeah.
You know, for instance, like a placebo effect. If I were to, I saw this on House, the show, and he went on a plane and he told everybody, if you ate the fish, you got food poisoning. If you suffer from a rash, blah blah blah, this, that, and the third, let us know. About 50% of the plane started freaking out and started getting rashes and everything. It's a placebo effect. The food poisoning wasn't real, but the idea was.
Yeah.
And it became real. So that's how I feel about magic. It's like, it may be sleight of hand, but it's actually happening to the spectator.
It's a perfect way to put it, because it definitely happened to me twice.
Many more to come.
Yeah,
Damn,
man,
bro.
it's crazy. So it's all in the mind. And how long did it take for you to realize that? Like, when you were a kid loving magic, how did you make that switch of like, since it's all in the mind, let me study the mind?
Oh, it wasn't as a kid. That was like 6 years ago.
Tell me
With the
about
whole mind thing.
that transition. Well, yeah, I guess. So before that, were you just doing magic like based off of tricks?
Yeah, I was doing like just tricks. I used a lot of gimmicks growing up and stuff before I learned actual card manipulation and sleight of hand and misdirection and all of that. Like, there's levels to it. Growing up, I did it mostly. I wasn't the popular kid. Magic is a nerdy thing to do. Like when you're a kid and you're like, I'm gonna be a magician. They're like, you fucking dork.
Not if it's good. Not if it's good. If it's good.
Yeah, but as a kid, you're not gonna be that great.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's some 8-year-olds that will blow me out of the water. They're fire now.
Yeah.
But that's because they have access to all this information now.
Yeah.
I was just defending it because, bro, you're talking to a kid that got a magic box as a kid.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool.
So yeah, I mean, like, it seems cool, but then it gets dorky because people make fun of you. Oh, you suck, or they take your cards. They're like, these are fake, and they throw it.
Yeah.
I've gotten that.
That won't happen.
Then in my teenage years, I tried hypnosis. I tried like mind reading, and it didn't really work out for me too well. So I just stuck to like cards and like visual magic. And then about 6 years ago, Darren Brown, which we were just talking about, he's by far like my favorite performer and favorite mentalist magician of all time. And I saw him and I was like, I love David Blaine, don't get me wrong, and I still aspire to be like him in some way, shape, or form, just my own. But Darren Brown is on another level. That man is just ridiculously good. It's the presentation. It's the presentation. That presentation that he has, like on stage, on his specials and stuff like that. That's when I was like, I want to get into the psychology of it, the mentalism, the hypnosis. Like, I really want to get into people's minds and figure out how to take magic without props into somebody's head and create an experience solely from their own mind. So that's what intrigued me, and I studied for the past 6 years psychology, sociology, behavioral science, different states of hypnosis, different types of hypnosis, neurolinguistic programming. I studied a lot of different people, not just magicians, but people like Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins uses a lot of NLP techniques, which is neurolinguistic programming for sure.
Can you go deeper into what that means?
So neurolinguistic programming is basically programming the mind through language. That's basically all it is. And so using specific language, specific patterns, specific rhythm, it goes into tone of your voice, rhythm of your voice, how low or high your voice is, and really using it to create an emotional state, to heal trauma, to change perception. And you can actually use that in magic. You can actually use it in hypnosis. You can use it in you can use it in a business meeting, which I use all the time. So you can use it in any which way, shape, or form.
Yeah. You got like a cheat code, like
Yeah,
walking around with a cheat code.
It's basically a cheat code for life.
So where do you learn this?
Honestly, books. I mean, you can go online and you can pay for these courses and DVDs and stuff like that and learn. And it's great because you get like this visual kind of representation of it. But you're gonna pay, what, $1,000, $2,000 for a course that you can get in a book for anywhere from $20 to $60. And it'll teach you everything as long as you're willing to do the work and actually read it and apply it to your everyday life or everyday interactions with people, whether you're doing magic or therapy or whatever.
I feel like it takes a lot of dedication. Like also a lot of maybe isolation. Like instead of hanging out with friends, you're reading books about this stuff.
Oh, 100%.
No one talks
I don't go
about.
out. I do not go out.
I was gonna ask you, how is your social life?
My social life is pretty good. I have a very small circle of friends that I interact with, and I have different groups. So I have my daily people that maybe they're acquaintances, maybe they're business friends and stuff, and I have those. Those are the people that I deal with on a daily. And I have my life friends, which, you know, they don't really help me level up, but they have my back no matter what, you know? But they're doing their own thing. They're stuck in a 9 to 5. They're, you know, have their jobs and stuff, but my goal is to level up, and so I have to deal with people that's going to get me to that point. I have to learn from people that's going to help me get to the point that I need to get to. So the advice that comes from someone who's already done it, learning from their mistakes, other people's mistakes is the biggest thing. Like learning from their mistakes and not making those mistakes and like actually applying the stuff that they say brings you to a whole new level. But my social life, I don't like going out. I don't like going to any place where there's alcohol, really. Just because the chances of something happening at a club, not that I'm scared or anything like that, it's just that I don't want to be around a bunch of drunk people that are belligerent and rude, and why? It's just a waste of my time and my life and my money, where I have to pay for gas to get to the place, then I have to pay for parking, and then as guys, you know, we have to pay an entry fee to go in, and then we're paying for drinks, and if we go with women, then we're paying for their drinks.
Seems like a lose.
You spend $200-$300 by the end of the night, and what have you gained from that? And you might get a headache trying to protect a girl, or some guy step into you.
Yeah, shit happens all the
It's
time.
not worth it.
Yeah.
Where I could be at home, read a book, learn something new, and apply it to my life to better myself.
Yeah, not many people think that way. But
No,
that's
yeah, you're a man on a mission.
Yeah.
So I commend you for that. That's crazy. Like, I can tell, literally, you are the best magician in Miami from what I've seen. Like,
Appreciate that.
you're legit the best magician in Miami.
That's
Damn,
why you're
dog.
here.
Yeah,
In the
man.
Miami.
You guys heard it first.
Nah, it's promo, bro.
Yeah, bro. So, man, I just have so many questions, bro.
Go, shoot them.
So when it comes to learning more about the mind, you said you studied that for 6 years. So how did your tricks transition from doing the stuff that you used to do to everything that you've learned now?
It transitioned a lot. Like, I'm not really doing magic per se. I'm not really doing the card tricks per se. I know I did some for you guys. I mean, that's more visual, but I'm not really doing that too much at events anymore. I'm doing more mentalism because a lot of people now think magicians are corny. And it's true. There's a lot of magicians, especially in Florida, that are just corny. And they come out and they're pulling, you know, to each their own. You know, there's kids magicians, there's family magicians, and, you know, there's different types of magicians out there, but there's a lot of them that do strolling magic, which is primarily what I do. And they're just corny. They make these corny jokes that are not really funny. They have terrible presentation. And so, like, that's where I want to change that. You know, that's, you know, presentation is everything. A lot of magicians, just for instance, they go out and they dress like the servers that are at the event. So if I'm dressed in all black from head to toe, a button down, oh, I got ash all over me. In a button down that is all black shoes, black pants and stuff. And now I look like the servers that are handing you the hors d'oeuvres.
Yeah.
And this has happened to me when I first started doing these events. People will be like, oh, can you take this from me and bring me back something? And I'm like, oh, I'm actually here to entertain you guys. And it's like a blow to the fucking nuts.
Yeah.
It sucks ass when they treat you like the servers. So I was like, okay, how do I stand out? I started buying different types of suits that were shiny and red, blue, green, paisley. I started going shirtless too.
You just pulled up shirtless.
Dude, I
to
do
events?
so many events that are shirtless or with
Do
my
they know
jacket
you're-
open.
Do they know you're gonna come in shirtless?
They ask.
Nice.
They ask. Like, I have to say, about 40% of the events I do, they ask me, can you wear this or can you do it shirtless? I did an event in a little bow tie. I actually have a video of it. A little bow tie They had me do magic as
A Chippendale.
basically as a Chippendale, just walking around. And that's one of the things, but presentation is everything as a magician. And I think that goes for any industry you're in, whether it be, DJing or whatever. And the first thing it comes down to is, what do you look like?
Yeah.
Are you taking care of yourself? Like, I'm not body shaming anybody, but, take care of yourself, eat healthy, don't not wear deodorant when you go to an event and you're around people that are paying you, to be there. If you're sweating profusely, maybe not wear such heavy clothing.
Yeah.
Iron your clothes. Like right now, my shirt's wrinkled, but it's just because that's the way the shirt is. But I ironed it before I got here.
Yeah.
But presentation, show up on time. How do you interact with your clients to book the event? Are you sending them quotes? Are you sending them contracts? Or are you just doing it through text message? Quotes and contracts are the main thing that sets you from just somebody doing it as a hobby to being a professional. Because when when companies see that, when a person running these events, they're like, some of them text me, some of them DM me in my Instagram. I always lead them back to my email. And so I actually wrote a book on all of this, on how I built my career. But basically, I get all the event info from them, and I write it down myself, and then I tell them, hey, this is great. I love what we discussed. Can you actually send me an email with everything we just discussed and everything you want at your event from me? Just in case we missed anything or I missed anything. And so that's how I know if I actually get that email, I know I got them booked. If I don't get an email, they probably weren't serious.
Yeah.
But just the fact that I'm doing that and sending them to an email, it looks more professional than just being like, I'll be there at 6. No, send a contract. Stuff like that. Show up on time. Show up early. Because you never know what's going to happen. Your car might break down. You might have to change your tire. You might have to take an Uber there. Whatever the case may be.
Shout out to you. Showed up 30 minutes early today for the pod.
Yeah.
He speaks facts.
So show up on time. Present yourself nicely. Make yourself stand out. I could do all the magic great and all, but if I look like one of the servers, they'll probably forget me.
Yeah.
They'll probably forget me.
No, people say don't judge a book by its cover, but everybody's judging a book by their cover. Like, and how you say, like, take care of your body. Like, you see somebody that's not in shape, it's like, oh, you're not doing your best to take care of yourself.
And I never wear all black anymore. This all white.
We're screwed.
No, but this looks nice. This is your podcast. This is like what you do. But
No, I
like
know
for
what you
me,
mean, though.
I have to stand out from all the other people. There may be bouncers up front dressed in all black. There may be servers. There's security.
Yeah.
You have to stand out. They're gonna, when I walk into the room, I want people to be like, wow, who's that guy?
Interesting.
He has a nice suit. I can't tell you how many times, every time I'm at an event, people are like, that suit is fucking nice. Every time. Or your outfit is incredible. I wore a ringleader outfit for the event in Tampa last weekend.
What's a ringleader outfit?
Kind of look like those circus jackets that a ringleader will wear.
All red.
Yeah, all red and
Yeah.
stuff. And
Where do you find these?
that was at Party City, actually.
Stop it.
That was
Stop
at Party
it.
City.
Stop it. And it's fake. Like, it's fire. Like,
Fire.
yeah.
Fire. And a lot of times, every time I've worn that jacket, except for the event in Tampa recently, that shirtless underneath. I've done an event as Tarzan
you're definitely
doing
gonna stand
magic.
out. As
Yeah.
soon as you walk through the door, everyone's looking at you.
Exactly.
And your hair is fire too.
Thank you.
Dude,
And you got the fresh cut. Nah, for real. How long did it take you to grow that out?
Say 8 years now, going on 9.
Nice.
And that's another thing. Make sure your hair is on point. Before I do an event, I always twist my locks, make sure it looks nice and presentable, because people have, they stereotype people with locks. They're dirty. They're dirty. They smell bad. You don't wash them, and that's not the case. I wash my hair every week. I twist my hair just about every week. On the weekends and stuff. Before I do an event, my hair is washed and twisted. So when I show up to an event, I'm clean cut, I look nice, I'm sharp. No one can say, oh, he looks like a bum or anything like that. Like, his magic was great. He smelled nice, but his hair was crazy.
Getting a haircut is one of the best feelings.
It is.
Yeah.
In Miami, you can't walk around without one.
Bro, once a week.
Yeah, that's the rink on you quick.
Once a week, bro. Once a week, if possible. If not, for sure, once every 2 weeks.
I go every 2 weeks. I go every 2 weeks because once a week is...
My hair grows fast. That's why.
What's your nationality, man?
I'm Puerto Rican.
Okay.
Mixed Puerto Rican, but I don't know what I'm mixed with, so...
Have you been to Puerto Rico?
Oh, yeah. I love Puerto Rico.
Yeah, same. It's fire, bro.
Dude, I went out there for a
What part of
weekend. I
Puerto
ended up
Rico?
staying 3 months.
Wow, 3
3
months?
months.
Yeah, I was like 13. I went out there to visit my cousin, and I called my mom, and I was like, I'm not coming back.
Yeah.
I want to stay out here for the rest of the summer, and I stayed out there.
Nice.
As a magician, I'm sure you can show up to any city, start calling people, and be like, yo, I'm a magician. Like, I would love to perform at your place, and now you have an instant gig. Like, you're going to have consistent work always.
Yes and no. It's kind of a lot harder than that. Because when you say magician, once again, we go back to that corniness. They're like, okay. It's not till they actually see it, you know? And I don't even have a website. Everything that I've built was from word of mouth and posting reactions and using hashtags. Like, I used to post myself doing like card manipulation and card tricks, but there was nobody reacting. And so when, like I said, how I've gotten to the point that I'm at to making the money that I do, when a client wants a magician at a party or a DJ or whatever the case may be is, they look at your page or they look at your website, and if they just see you DJing at the house, it's like, oh, well, I guess he's good enough, whatever. They want to impress their guests. So they want to see the reactions that you create in other people, right? So those reactions are super important. So when I'm posting, a majority of the posts that I have, you'll see, are all reactions from different people. And those reactions, like, sometimes I barely even post the magic. It's the reactions that gets them. And they're like, oh my God, my guests are gonna freak out. This guy's amazing. Look what he's doing. Like, look at the way he's making these people scream their heads off. That's what I want on my party. Whereas if they just see, you know, me just fooling around with cards, it's like, we'll hire him, maybe. You know, they want to see reaction. And that's like a huge part in business in general.
Yeah.
It's not just the craft that I spent thousands of hours on. I spent just an equal amount of time on the business side, on the marketing side, on the branding side, where I'm posting things that are going to make people like, I want him.
Yeah, speaking of reactions, I saw you do some magic to Tory Lanez, and he was going crazy.
Is that why you do this? You do it for the reactions? You do it for the emotions people get?
So at first, like I was telling you before, I was doing it because I was always a dorky kid. I wasn't popular. And it was a way of kind of making people like me. And I had an insecurity. I think a lot of magicians actually become magicians because we have like some major insecurity of like, we're probably not the best looking people. We're probably dorky or whatever the case may be is. And so a lot of them do it to make people like them. And I think that's, I've transitioned out of that to where I've worked on myself enough to where I don't have to talk about magic. I can talk about anything, just have like a real conversation with someone and them like me for who I am and not the things I can do, like magic, you know? Now I do it more for the making people feel good, taking people away from their stresses. And I'm not the first person to actually say this, but this is like definitely how I feel. Like, so many people are stressed out about their relationships with their spouse or loved one, their family, finances, what happened at work today, stuff like that. And you don't get a break. You have to come home, you have to cook, take care of your kids, stuff like that. You don't get a break. When do you get a break to just relax and not think about it? So when I'm performing for someone, they're not thinking about like their stresses. They're not thinking about, oh, I gotta pay my bills. oh, my kids. Oh, my husband cheated on me. They're not thinking about that. They're like, holy fuck, how the fuck did you do that?
Yeah.
And it brings you back to the state of amazement when you're like a kid. Because when you're a kid, you're like almost amazed by everything. Like, oh my God, look at a dog. Look how big that dog is.
Yeah.
You're freaking out. You're like, oh my God, that dog. And it's this amazement, this wonder of like, oh my God, look at this new thing.
Yeah.
And so that's what it kind of brings out of people. And it brings them some kind of joy. And it just kind of takes them away from their stresses a little bit. And sometimes it's therapeutic for people.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to tell you something. I did magic at a funeral.
What?
I got hired at a funeral.
Was that?
That's pretty ballsy of them.
Is that common for magicians?
No.
Okay, just making sure.
Dude, I was like, so this lady who saw me at TJ Maxx, she hired me. She says, my sister's down and out. I want you to perform for her at her house. I'll let you know and I'll pay you. She paid me. I show up and I'm thinking it's going to be a party or something, or maybe
Oh,
like a
you
little
didn't know?
get together. And everybody's dressed in black. And I'm dressed super bright. And everybody seems so sad. And I'm like, what happened here? There's a fight just break out. And everybody's just like, I hear people sobbing in the corner and whatever. And then out of the corner of my eye, I see a freaking full-blown open casket. And there's a lady in it. And I said, holy fuck, I'm at a funeral. I'm doing magic at a funeral.
I feel like they would have to tell you that.
They didn't tell me shit. Because this, once again, this was before I advanced my career to like text messaging, to professionalism on emails and doing contracts and all of that. And so I didn't get any of the event info. She just said, come here. And I kind of knew her. I would go in and out of TJ Maxx. She would see me once in a while. But yeah, I was freaked out kind of. When I saw that, I was like, there's no way.
Were you thrown off? Like, were your tricks off? Like,
they weren't off,
Yeah.
but I just didn't know how to approach that. Like, we're at a funeral. You're sad. I'm not trying to be the...
How are the guests? I guess?
attendees.
Yeah.
You know,
Did you
they
cheer 'em up, or
reacted
they-
how you would imagine, like, wow, that's great. But it wasn't like the reaction you'll see on my page. Like, because, you know, they're fucking sad.
yeah. Safe to say you're not gonna do that again.
I don't think I would do a funeral unless somebody paid me the right price for
I
it.
got you.
So tell me about the mind tricks. Like, how do you read someone's mind? You mentioned that you studied that.
So it comes down to a few things. There's so many different techniques to doing it. You know, one of them is body language, micro expressions, idiomotor movements, and profiling people. And that's if we're talking about cold reading, because there's different types of reading. There's cold reading, there's hot reading. So cold reading is just walking up to someone and basically almost fishing for information. So a lot of psychics will say general statements, or like, for instance, zodiac signs. Zodiac signs, and I'm sorry to break every person's bubble who believes in zodiacs and stuff.
Tell them.
But they are Barnum statements, and if you don't know what a Barnum statement is, it was an experiment that they did. It's a generalized statement that can apply to anyone's life.
That's what I say, though.
So, for instance, give me your palm.
Barnum statement.
palm?
Yeah.
A Barnum statement.
So
That's what it's called.
this is what palm readers do. They'll be like, "Wow, you have a long lifeline." You'll be like, "Oh, I'm planning to live a long life," right in your head, and then you'd be like, "Oh, I see your love life's kind of hit like a rocky road and whatnot, but you are gonna find someone that you like, someone that you fall in love with, and that's gonna be your life partner. You're gonna have about, 2 kids."
Bro, it's like you know me.
And so, basically, how many of us have had issues in our love life? Everyone.
Yeah.
If you haven't had issues in your love life, you probably haven't really dated. Everyone has had issues in their love life. They say, oh, you're probably on a fence about something. That's an everyday occurrence. Those are Barnum statements. They're generalized statements. And so that's how you would cold read someone. you say a generalized statement, and then somebody will give you a cue. They'll be like, yeah, I just, I just broke up with my ex like a couple weeks ago. Bingo. Now you just gave me an important piece of information, And now I know that's the person you're thinking about, right? So now I can probably fish a little bit more and figure out the name. And that's how I kind of go about it.
How do you figure out a name? What?
So for instance, let's talk. It goes, how I do it is profiling. When I look at someone and I walk up to someone, I look at their height, their weight, what they're wearing. If it's a woman, are her nails painted? Right? Are they long or are they short? What color are they painted? Do they match her toenails? Are she wearing open sandals or closed shoes? Heels, flats? For guys, like how is their hair?
So you can find out who they're thinking about, the name?
In a sense, yes, and I'll get to that in a second. I make educated guesses. It's an educated guess. I don't have superpowers. I'm not psychic or anything like that.
Can you say my ex's name?
Your ex's name?
Yeah. Because that's kind of what we're talking about. So I want to.
All right. Well, maybe I'll bring that up on the end of the podcast. We'll try something.
He needs more info though.
I don't know.
We'll try something.
Yeah.
I have a playing card here.
Damn. Write it out.
Playing card. Actually, let me. Okay. And then I'll kind of explain how I do this. Okay? So this is what I want you to do. I want you to write her name in bold letters right across that. And you're gonna watch me.
I'm watching.
I'm gonna keep my eyes shut.
That was magic. You just grabbed the cards without looking at it.
Let me know when you're done.
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay? I'm not gonna look.
Yeah.
I want you to just push it in here. Face down. All right, wherever you want. Fair?
You're good.
And you can't see through that at all.
It's a clean deck,
right?
You put it at the top.
Clean deck,
yeah.
Right? I'll get to it because I have to know more about you. And like I said, you can't see through that.
I'm curious because I feel like someone's name has nothing to do with me. So how does that have anything to do with?
So, for instance, when I profile people, let's just say, for instance, I see a Latin person, right? Person of Latin descent, right? Or a Puerto Rican. We know that every Puerto Rican knows a Maria, right?
Fair.
So I can immediately say, do you know someone named Maria? And they'll be like, yeah. How'd you know that? It's fucking statistics. I know that they probably eat rice and beans once a week. It's not stereotyping. It's statistics.
I do.
You know, the same way a lot of white people know an Ashley or an Amanda. It's statistics. So I basically profile people based on how they look, how they act, how they carry themselves. Is their posture like this? Are they more depressed? Are they less social? Are they standing up like this? Are they muscular? Things like that. They work out a lot. So I kind of fish like that. So for instance, I want you to think about this person. Now I already know it's your ex, right? So men, when they think about a woman, their lips will curl up slightly. It's a micro expression.
Okay.
Right? They'll curl up slightly. So you didn't have to tell me it was a female. I already knew. If you were thinking about a male, it'll curl down, regardless whether it's someone that's close to you or not.
How do you learn these things?
The books, dog.
The books, and like practice. Every time I get something wrong, you know how many times I've been wrong? I've been wrong so many times. So think about her. Think about the first letter. Say it in your name. Say it in your head. Don't say it out loud. Say it in your head. Okay, so I'm not getting anything on the first letter. So I'm assuming that the first letter is not a vowel, so it's not A or O or U. Okay, because if it was, his lips would go.
This is
Interesting.
crazy.
Interesting.
It's an idiomotor movement, and this is what I'm reading. So now I know that it's going to be a letter like L or M.
What? It's an
What?
idiomotor
Idiomotor
Idiomotor movement. So it's a micro movement that happens from your subconscious brain.
Gotcha.
But what if? How do you know my subconscious brain?
Everybody's got a subconscious
So
brain.
unless
know,
you
but, like, how-
have
doesn't everyone
some
have a
kind
different-
of developmental issue growing up, everybody's subconscious and conscious kind of works similarly.
So this is straight statistics again.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm looking at the micro expression. So I know it's not a vowel up front.
It's crazy, bro.
So let's shoot over to the last letter.
Okay.
Okay, so you see right there. The smile, the it's A at the end of that letter. A at the end. You don't have to tell me. You don't have to tell me if I'm right. A. So now I know the last letter.
Yeah.
It could be O, but I'm gonna take an educated guess and say it's A because of the way his lips, he smiled. I was waiting for him to calm down and then went back, right? So I think A, right? So you guys know my secrets now. This is gonna be all out on social media, but I don't care because I'm not psychic.
Yeah.
So now I know there's an A. It could be a name like Melissa, which I don't think it is, because I don't know if it is, it just. It is?
No, it's not.
Oh, okay,
No.
that would have been good on the first try.
Yeah,
it could be a name like Melissa. So now look what just happened. I now deduced Melissa's out of the picture,
Uh-huh.
right? So now I can go down tally. So now it might be. Let's see, another Alicia. It could be Alicia. It's not. He's shaking his head. So
I forgot.
But Alicia now starts with a vowel.
I forgot her
I've never
name.
really met an Alyssa.
So-
Wow, look at the moon. An Alyssa or Melissa.
That's pretty crazy.
So think of the second letter. Okay, he's smiling again.
I mean, yo.
But
it's-
his lips went like this. They kind of. So I'm gonna think an O. So now I know there's an O somewhere in the second letter, and an A. So there's not many words that can kind of. This is like.
I think we're
All right,
aliens,
let's
bro.
keep talking.
We're
Let's keep talking. I want you to keep thinking about it. Ask me questions.
Me
so-
and this guy are different. Like it's gonna be hard to read us.
It's difficult,
Yeah.
but this is you're actually like a brick wall right now. So I'm kind of. But ask me a question.
And we're mind blown, bro. Like
Let him relax because now he's building up
Yeah.
a tolerance to me.
yeah. Nah, yeah, man.
It's not Moana.
I've never met a Moana in my
No,
life.
No.
but the pupil dilated when I said that. So
Maybe Moana's in my future.
Joanne, Joanne, something. Am I right?
Yeah. You're right. It's just Joanna.
Joanne, Joanna.
Whoa. For damn.
It's in the car.
So that's literally what happens.
You
so
got
like.
O's and A's and by looking at somebody.
So keep in mind, how many names can you guess? Let me see if I was correct
It's mind blowing.
with the name. Oh, you put it up top? How many names do you know that is
What the fuck?
Joanna?
You got the A off
like
the
the
bat.
third try.
Off the bat, you got the A.
Yeah.
So-
that was like the third try.
There's not many names that are like that. You know?
Yeah.
Name another name that has an O in the second letter and an A at the end. It's statistics. So I study
How did
names
you
as
get
well.
the O again?
Your lips went. You smiled and then you went. Subconsciously, your brain is trying to speak because that's what our brains do. You think a thought and your body creates the action. So if I want to think, and it's such a small movement that you can predict what people are going to say, what they're going to do. Feet are the most honest thing.
Your feet.
You want to know if someone really likes you or has to go or is not interested in a conversation, look at their feet. Now you guys are going to feel self-conscious about your feet.
I've heard this.
I've never
And they have
thought
to.
about
If they're
that.
pointing at you, they're super interested in you.
Absolutely. Yes, correct. So feet, because no one really thinks about them, the subconscious controls them fully. Your conscious brain doesn't really control your feet unless you're conscious of it. But when you're in conversation, your subconscious is controlling your feet. So when you want to go or somebody wants to leave out of a conversation, they will be like this. One foot will be towards you, other foot will be like that, leading to the nearest exit or in the other direction. So that either tells you they're not really interested in a conversation, or they're late to an appointment and they have to go, or they just don't like you. Also, you can tell who's the leader of a group by people's feet. If look at everybody in a group's feet and watch who they're pointed to. And I guarantee you that's the person who's like the alpha or the leader of the group or the loudest that kind of takes charge. And that's usually what happens, because feet are just honest. They're just purely subconscious.
That's insane, bro.
People pacify with their feet by crossing their feet like this to make themselves feel better. They pacify like this, like this, like this. These are all pacifying to make them feel comfortable. These are things that I read in people in business meetings, in my day-to-day doing magic and stuff. So, yeah.
Bro, you must be a hit with the ladies, because like a girl cares about how much you're paying attention to all little things. You're like, oh, their nails, and then do they match their feet? Like,
believe it or not, I don't go out enough to be a hit with the ladies. Magic does help. Don't get me wrong. It's a complete icebreaker. It's awesome, right? But the fact that I can read people scares the crap out of women. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten, oh, I could never date you because you might manipulate me into like falling in love with you, or you just seem too manipulative because you're a magician, or I don't want you in my head because then you'll know when I'm lying. Like, why would you want to lie to me?
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's true.
It's Miami.
It's true. I could tell when somebody's lying to me. So it's believe it or not, it's a lot harder dating as a magician than you would think. But yeah.
That's insane, bro. Nah, doesn't make sense.
I
need to learn your tricks.
What other mind tricks do you have? Because I asked you that question and you went right into it, and you guessed my ex's name within like 3 tries. So I'm wondering, and everything that you said to guess that name, like, it makes sense, but it's information that no one ever reads about, no one ever knows. So I'm like so curious. I'm like down the rabbit hole of like, what else you got?
So that is a combination between studying names, most common names in America, most common names in the culture. You know, if you look at Mexico, Maria, right? Rosa, Jorge, Carlos, right? Puerto Rico, once again, Maria,
Mm-hmm.
you know, Jose.
Yeah.
If you look at white culture, Amanda, you know, Ashley, Stephanie, you're going to get a lot of these names. Even Melissa.
Yeah.
But Melissa's kind of like a name that's all over the place. And then you have uncommon names. You know, you have really uncommon names. So like the people who have like accents or come from other countries, like let's just say Haiti or Asia and stuff like that, it's a little bit harder because keep in mind, with accents, all an accent is mouth movement, right? Someone in China who speaks Mandarin or Cantonese, their mouth moves differently from ours, which is why if they learn English, they have an accent. It's all because of the mouth movement. So they have different mouth movements. So when they're thinking about a name, even if it's an English name, their mouth moves differently. And I had to retrain myself to figure it out with every single culture. And it's extremely difficult. And not all the time I get a hit like this. Sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes I'm not far off from the truth. But it's very rare that happens to me now.
Hell yeah, dog. That's just insane. That's crazy as fuck.
So I'm wondering, this type of magic is cool because it's very different, and you have to be knowledgeable. So you don't really need any like props. You can just walk up to someone and give them a mind trick. So what other tricks do you have with the mind? With, like, no props, just from all this studying.
I've been doing a lot of stuff with like technology and stuff too, using people's phones, because nowadays everybody's on their freaking phones. Also, another way to do this marker is kind of silent when you're writing, you can't really hear it, but sometimes I'll use a dry erase marker, which makes that shh
You can hear the
Sound.
strokes.
Really?
Bro, stop it.
Yes, I'm revealing all my secrets, but you know,
No, I get
don't
you.
really
No,
care.
but that's not a secret because
This is
that
called
within
sound
itself
reading.
This
This is called sound reading, and so I'm able to
talent.
hear. You can hear a J, you can hear an O, you can hear an A sometimes, depending on how they write it. Sometimes if I use a dry erase on paper, I'll have them write in all caps, because now I know. All right, J, O, A. Like.
So you were
N.
doing that while he was writing it.
No, this was completely silent.
Okay.
That was strictly
Yeah.
off like his lips and stuff like that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So what else you got? Like you do you want
The
tricks?
hypnotism
Pull
stuff,
out,
man.
pull
Yeah.
out your phone. Pull out your phone. And I'll put my phone on Do Not Disturb, so I don't get any phone calls. Go to, let's do Google. Actually, type in wikicount.net.
Wiki what?
Wikicount.net. In your search bar or whatever.
Wiki count?
Yeah, WIKI count COUNT.net, and it'll come up with a website that tells you how many articles are in Wikipedia. So you can show him how many articles are in Wikipedia.
6
Whoa,
million.
okay.
About 6 million, right?
6.6 million.
Okay, so how many words on average in an article? It should say it underneath there.
1,601.
1,601. So if we did the math on this, right? Saying that, I went to my calculator. So we did 6 million, right? Times 1,601.
Yeah.
You get about 9 billion words in general in Wikipedia.
Okay.
Right? So open your phone and scroll down, click visit Wikipedia. And what I want you to do is you know how to use Wikipedia?
I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, click the little magnifying glass
Okay.
and search for whatever you want on Wikipedia.
Stop it.
Whatever you want.
Stop.
And you're gonna get an article.
An article? Like, what do you mean, a word, a
Pick
subject?
a random anything. From
Just
Wikipedia
pick
has
a random
everything.
anything.
It can be an event. It could be a place. It could be.
And you're gonna get an article that pops up. It could be dogs, cats. Don't pick any of those because I just said it.
Yeah.
But
I would
okay.
think Marlins.
Do you have an
games.
article?
Not what I was expecting, but yeah.
Okay. Scroll through the article and pick a word, a decent sized word. Something. Don't pick Greek because that's in every Wikipedia page. They have like the Greek and the English or whatever. Pick a decent sized word, like a 5, 6, 7, 8 letter word.
Any word?
Any word.
Okay. Got it.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay, close your phone. You
I
don't tell
know-
them the
I
word.
know the
Don't
word,
say
yeah.
anything. So, this is what I want to do. Think about what you searched.
Okay.
Think about the process. Think about typing. Right? Actually, I'll do this with you because you saw what he searched.
I didn't see what he searched.
Oh, you didn't see what he searched. Okay. See now he's controlling his lips. I can see it. The tension in his face. You see his cheekbones come up.
Poker face.
Think about something that you scrolled through. You picked a word, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. I want to take a hint from you. Just one hint. Okay. Not what you searched, but the word that you chose. Does it start with the letter N?
No.
What letter does it start with?
A P.
A P.
Bro, if he gets this right,
I don't know how he can do this.
Never playing poker if he gets this right.
Dude, I know you can make so much money. Sorry to distract you. No, let him finish.
Now I'm not gonna fish this time, like I did when I said multiple names. Think about what you searched up. Is it like in your head? Person, place, or thing? Okay, so when I said person, place, or thing, see,
I saw that.
You saw the
I
switch.
saw
You saw the
it.
switch. So it's a place.
Hey, dude.
The first time I said person, place, or thing, his eyes shifted downwards on place. Then he twitched on place again. So this is a place that you searched, not the word. You searched a place, maybe a place that you would like to have in the future. Is this a beach house?
Nah, no way. Yo, there's no way.
And then the word that you scrolled down.
Yo. Yeah.
A P beach house.
I might be wrong with this.
How do you guess?
He got beach house. That's what
I
you searched?
think I might get this wrong because
How
like
do you guess a beach house? I could have typed any.
Yeah.
hold on, I don't even have enough space to write.
And I was thinking thing, but I guess it is a place. But I was thinking thing.
You're
I
hilarious.
swear, I was thinking thing. When I thought he was gonna say, "Oh, it's a thing," right?
It wouldn't be perfection. Or perfectionately?
It's perfect.
Perfect.
Damn, bro, that doesn't make sense.
Is it me that I'm easy to read, or you're just that good?
He's that good.
It's not that you're easy. You're actually really hard to read.
All right, cool.
Bro.
So then how's
So like I just got perfection instead. It was perfect, right?
perfect?
I got perfection instead, or
Yeah.
perfectionately. I didn't know if
Still
it
the
was
same word.
perfect. So how many words are there with P?
But
There's
beach
about
house.
9 billion words.
I'm more impressed with beach house because I was even wondering if that's like you told me to search up anything, and I thought one word. I did beach house, and I'm like, well, it's a beach house. So. And then also, like I told EJ, I was thinking thing, but you said place, and I was like, I guess it can be a place. Like, yeah.
But even he peeped it. Now that you guys are now catching on.
So the
Yeah.
subconscious is like extremely alive within us.
Extremely. Everything that you think reads on your face, even when you don't think of it.
Yeah.
So
Unless
do you
you're
play, do you play
trained.
poker? Do you?
I don't play
have you
poker.
ever
Actually,
tried to?
I'm
You ever
terrible
think
at
about
card
it?
games.
But
That doesn't make
poker,
any sense.
But poker, if you're able to read, if you know the rules of poker and you understand like who has a good hand and why, I feel like you'd be able to read people's faces. That's why they say having a poker face
Oh,
is
100%.
Yeah.
good. Never
100%.
thought about
And
that.
people think that wearing sunglasses is going to stop because, yeah, you can read. Like, this is very expressive. And this is a majority where humans interact with each other. They look at the eyebrows because we have eyebrows to express ourselves with each other. It's just an evolutionary thing that happened within us. So they wear sunglasses to block themselves out, knowing poker slightly. But there's so many other things. The simple corners of the mouth, the cheekbones, the ears. You can actually flex your ears, and you'll probably see it just.
I can't do that. What the hell?
You can. Your body actually does it subconsciously. And
Oh my god.
that's something as simple as that will tell you, okay, what just happened? Why did he flex? It doesn't mean that he's bluffing.
Yeah.
For instance, if I'm talking to someone and I'm questioning them or whatever the case may be is, and I ask a question and they've been still the entire time, and then all of a sudden on that question they move their leg like this, or they scratch their head, I know that I have to dig deeper on that question. Doesn't mean that they're lying. Doesn't mean that they're hiding something. It just means that there's something more than the answer that they gave or the answer that they're about to give.
So how have relationships gone with you when it comes to you knowing all these things? Do you just like kind of know off the bat when someone's like kind of bullshitting you?
Yeah,
You just pay no
for
mind
sure.
to it?
I'm very
I'm
picky
assuming?
with the people I choose to be around.
Yeah, same. I feel that.
I could tell you right now, like, I don't hang around with the typical fuck boys that are out here. I'm just like very picky, whether it's men or women that are around me. Like, I'm very, very picky with like the people I keep around. In relationships, studying the past 6 years, it's been trial and error. I've had some pretty crappy relationships. My last relationship, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all.
I asked just because within relationships, a lot of times, like, I kind of like you're able to tell when you feel like you can trust someone or not. So, but I don't know anything. I literally don't know anything
Compared to you, though.
about
So
about
there's a
what you've studied.
fantastic
So
book.
with you, I wonder, like, when you meet someone, you start to like them, and you get in a relationship with them, and then I don't know, you guys like how do you distinguish someone's trust if you could basically read it off their face?
Plug that book you're about to say. And plug your own book. I want to know
I'll tell you about
your
that.
business book.
So, as humans, like I said, if you don't have any developmental issues, it's all the same. You make a judge whether you like someone or not immediately, off rip, when you meet someone new, right? And there's this fantastic book by, I believe it's Malcolm Gladwell. It's called Blink.
Okay.
Right?
I've read Outliers, which
And
is by him.
it's called Thinking Without Thinking. The tagline is Thinking Without Thinking. And so basically, one of the first things he says in there is that you know a stranger more than you know your friend, because you create a story about them. You know, when, let's just say for instance, like I have a boy, right? And that's my homie. That's my best friend for life, right? But he has some negative attributes. And because I love this kid so much, right? Because he's my boy, I ignore it. And as soon as I choose to ignore it, my brain starts creating a story about him, a positive one, right? It starts creating, oh, he's a good guy, he's this, he's that, and you start to ignore, oh, well, he's messy, he's this, he's that. You start to ignore these attributes that these people have. And so the same thing goes in relationships. You know, when you first meet someone, you decide whether you like them or not, and if you choose to like them, right, you start creating a story about them and start ignoring all the bad stuff. And then when your relationship goes south, you're like, I didn't see it coming. You did. You consciously made the choice, or subconsciously made the choice, to ignore these, you know, bad characteristics of this person. So that's usually how I go about it. Like with people, my first instinct, okay, yes, but I also look at the negative side, you know? And, you know, I know all these people are like power positive thinking and stuff. If we were all positive about the people that we were around and just thought, oh, well, everyone's good in some way, shape, or form, you'd probably get killed. You'd probably put yourself in some really bad situations. So that positive thinking all the time can't be. The negative thinking is there to protect you. Mm-hmm. This person's doing this, that's not good, that's unsafe, I'm not gonna hang around that person. That negative thinking is your ego telling you. Ego is meant to protect you, right? And a lot of people confuse ego with cockiness and confidence. Ego is that little voice inside your head that's meant to protect you. Don't do this. Don't hang around this person. And that's where I think of it. I'm ambiguous with people. I look at the positive aspects and I look at the negative aspects and I judge them based on weight on that aspect. So
interesting. That's crazy. There was a show on TV or on Netflix that I used to watch. It was called Lie to Me. And it was like,
oh yeah,
it was a guy that he literally just does exactly what you do. He sits there. He's an interrogator. He's an interrogator for a police department, and he brings you in and he just asks you questions and he's reading your facial expressions the whole time, and he's able to deduce if you did the murder or didn't do this just on exactly what he saw, twitches and your eyes and do this and that. Like,
I just feel like the mind is so much more powerful than what we think it is.
There's so much more going on. Yes.
Yeah, if you study something and you really want to learn something specific, there's so many things that other minds just don't know.
Exactly. And I don't know if the show is based off this guy, but it reminds me of another author that I read his books. His name's Joe Navarro. He basically wrote the law on profiling people and reading body language and stuff. And he has some amazing books out there. His name's Joe Navarro. I think he's from Orlando, actually. And he was an informant, I believe, for the FBI. And basically, I mean, not an informant, he was a consultant. He was a consultant for the FBI. And he basically helped them profile people. He would look at interrogations and he'd be like, oh, he just crossed his arms. What's that? Dig deeper on that question. Ask him more about that subject. And that's what he would do. And he has some really, really good books. One of the first ones I read is what everybody is saying. And he literally teaches you the basics of body language. And it's a great book. And all his books are based on profiling.
The mind is so strong. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think mine's
So
done.
I feel like you
Appreciate you.
I feel like you see the world very different than others. So when you're out in public, you know, like out in everyday life, how are you just responding to like everyone else, I guess?
Oh boy, this is where it gets tough. I'm very logical and analytical. So when I'm out and about and I'm just seeing strangers pass by me when I'm at events and stuff, I am literally analyzing every single person in a room, what they might have in their pockets, if they're having an affair, if, you know, what they just ate, are they bloated, are they on their period?
No way.
Things like that. I'm analyzing every single thing, every single person that passes by me.
You're like a robot.
Wow.
And it's second nature to me. It happens so quickly.
Yeah.
Second nature to me. And I'll give you a few things. And I'm going to get so much hate for this. I won't date a girl that has bangs.
What if tell me,
What
I
do
need to-
bangs
we-
tell
we
you?
need to know
Oh man,
this.
I'm
We need to know.
gonna have to sit.
They're trying to
like
be.
this for this.
They're trying to
No.
hide something about themselves.
I'm gonna be honest. I've never really liked bangs. I've had,
Okay.
I've had girls that I'll be with them and then they get bangs out of nowhere, and I'm like, you can't say much, but like I'm not a fan.
Okay, I guarantee you I know why, and it's not the actual bangs. Okay, so I'm not the biggest fan of bangs. I don't think they look bad on women. I think some women look great with bangs. That being said, bangs tell me, and I think could tell a lot of people, that that person is going through a controlling problem. They have to have some kind of control over their life. They've gone through some kind of traumatic experience and they cut their bangs, or maybe just broke up with their boyfriend and stuff like that. Same goes for men. If there's a guy with bangs, run the other direction. Women, run the other direction if a guy has bangs. And the reason why I'm saying this is when a woman cuts her hair, and specifically bangs, a lot of the times it's because there's some underlying mental issues, and it may not be severe. It may be something as little as, I just broke up with my boyfriend. I'm gonna do something new, cut my bangs. Instead of dealing with the emotional trauma that's happening within them, they cut their bangs. And then a lot of them regret it for the next 6 months.
Wait, hold on.
Every girl says that. I shouldn't have cut my hair.
I'm confused. So when they cut their bangs, that means that they're going.
It tells me that they're mentally unstable.
So what happens
Holy
when they
shit.
put on bangs? You know what I mean? I thought that's what you were saying. Like they have normal hair, and then out of nowhere they just want to have bangs for some reason.
It screams mental
But what brings
instability.
It? What brings
I don't think you can just, if you're a girl, have bangs.
I thought it was a stylish thing. Like, oh, everyone has bangs. I want bangs. It's cute. I'm gonna have bangs. Because I feel like if everyone knew what you're saying, no one would have bangs. I thought it was like. It looks,
I have been saying this
It looks
for
good.
7 years.
But some girls do think it looks good, right? That's why they
Of course,
get it.
a lot of girls think it looks good, and I'm not saying that it doesn't.
So do you think some girls get it because it looks good and they're not going through anything traumatic, or they low-key get it because even though it looks good, you're kind of going through some shit?
I think that regardless whether they realize it or not, they're going through some kind of mental instability. And
Damn, bangs is just not it.
I don't think girls are bangs. People with
Is
red
that
hair.
the same with like dyeing hair? Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, same thing. So you can tell someone's personality based on their hair color.
But nowadays people do it to stand out. So is it?
Yeah, I mean, my boy Justin has teal blue hair, and I feel like he's a pretty stable person. But, I'm not saying that 100% of everybody who dyes their hair specific colors
You live in the
are
realm
mentally
of
unstable.
probability.
Yeah, but the probability aspect of them being mentally unstable is very, very high. So I know that a girl with blue or green hair is going to be most likely very outspoken, very opinionated, probably a feminist, and I'm not afraid to say that because it's true. Look, go out and try this for yourself.
There's a
Go
whole
out
thing about
and look at how aggressive those women are that do dye their hair, right? Same thing with people who split their hair different colors, it usually screams bipolar to me. It's easy. It's an easy thing.
Yeah.
And so, like, yes, I won't date a woman with those hairstyles. And it's not because I don't think it looks good. I think a lot of them look great with it.
Yeah.
Do I want to deal with the mental instability? Do I want to deal with the probability of that this person is most likely unstable and probably going to ruin my life? Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
What else? What else do I need to know?
I'll give you a free game.
Yeah, let me think. Girls with belly button rings.
I feel like that's just more like a thing. They just do it.
See, I asked because that's what I thought about the bangs.
Now, face piercings, different story.
Tongue piercings.
You,
Really?
you can
I
hide
thought
that.
that's-
It's conceivable.
That's more of like a sexual aspect.
Okay.
so like a nose piercing is. That seems normal.
I feel, nose piercings
you mean like
usually,
the dimple piercings? Like,
eyebrows.
yeah, like the dimples, like a lot of different piercings. Like if they have a lot of piercings in the face, they're usually very, very rough around the edges. Because keep in mind, most of our parents growing up didn't have piercings, didn't dye their hair, didn't, wear the clothes that we wear, didn't listen to music that we listened to. And what happened? We became rebellious. And what do rebellious people do? They cut their hair, they dye their hair, they get tattoos, they do all these facial piercings, and it's a form of rebellion subconsciously. They may think I'm doing it just because I'm doing it, because this is me, because I like this. That's not true. You are being rebellious against your family, against society, against specific things, and it's become the norm now. It's become the norm, and mental instability has become the norm. Look around. How many people do we know are mentally unstable now?
I feel like that's almost been done on purpose in a way.
It has been. It has been. And you can just look at the trend. Look at the trend that's happening. I can tell you right now, the girls who have bangs the most, what kind of girls are they? Usually the gamer girls.
You're right. Like an anime chick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look up gamer girls. Just look up the hashtag. I guarantee you'll scroll through and you'll find almost every one of them has bangs.
They're unstable.
And I guarantee you everyone, I won't say every one of them, but a majority of them suffer from anxiety or some kind of depression, which a majority of the United States does now, but
Yeah.
it's true. They're more likely to suffer from anxiety and depression. So,
Interesting.
So how do you turn all this knowledge into tricks? Is that something that you find within being a magician, or do you create them because of your knowledge?
I use it in my day-to-day life, but I also, when I take the analyzing of what I do with people and turning it into a trick, it's usually, okay, I know this person falls into X, Y, and Z category. I know if I ask them to, for instance,
Shit.
I don't know if this is gonna work because we've been talking for so long, so you guys are building a tolerance to me.
It's been working.
But this may be wrong.
Get EJ this time. Maybe it's
Hit
just
me.
Say a number between 1 and 10.
Out loud?
Yeah,
9.
9. Okay. Think of a number between 1 and 10. Just think of one.
Okay.
You got it? Okay. What number are you thinking of?
I see it.
Yeah.
3.
Okay. Think 3. Say 7. Now, I've already been telling. I could already tell you were gonna build up a tolerance to me.
Just so the camera knows.
There's a 7. I messed up on that one.
Chris.
Nah, it's not me. It was you, bro.
No,
You said 9.
he got the thinking.
Nah,
Wait.
he said 9.
But
But he
here's
got yours.
Whatever.
But here's the thing. With the normally, if I say a number between 1 and 10, say 7. That's usually what happens in the subconscious brain, right? When I tell somebody to think of a number, think 3. That's usually, this is just statistics that educated guesses I'm working off of.
Yeah.
So like I said, I'm not always right, but I'm never far off. So there's always gonna be somebody that I have a hit, and then I work with that person. And I'm like, that's my target. that's who I'm gonna hit, and then everybody else gets to experience it, including that person, right? So they have this special experience, and everybody else has. Sorry. Everybody has this experience with them.
Would I be a target?
I wouldn't think you're a target, but
you see,
I'm not saying you're a target. I'm saying he got you, though.
But you know, you can apply some of these things to your everyday life, and I've talked about other stuff aside from magic, but I was a very skinny kid growing up, skinny guy, even into my early 20s and stuff, and now I've built some muscle and stuff. Obviously, I was an MMA fighter as well for like 9 years, amateur, novice.
Nice.
But let's just say, for instance, if I told you there's $1 million on the other side of this door, right? And you have to pick 2 guys to go through. And one guy is super muscular, 6'4", packed with muscle, and the other guy is a scrawny guy. Who are you gonna choose to go through?
The scrawny guy.
Scrawny guy, right? So I'm making this example to give people a clear understanding. As a man, if you're in public, we know that we're automatically sizing guys up. Even your own friends you do it with. You're like, yeah, I could arm wrestle my boy. I could beat him. I know I could beat him. Whatever.
Yeah, more than
right?
anyone.
It's friendly competition, even in public, right? Let's say you're out with a girl, right? You're at a bar, stuff, and you're a scrawny guy. No guy's gonna respect you. They don't. They're like, look at this skinny guy with this hot girl. They're like, I can take her away from you.
Take your girl.
Automatically, the fact that you don't have muscle sets an impression subconsciously to other dudes. The same way, if you have muscle, the guy's gonna be like, I'm not gonna mess with him.
So do push-ups.
Do push-ups, work out, go to the gym and stuff like that. But
like
these are things
right
that I
For
like
real.
to talk about because this is how it plays into everyday life. Not just, you know, magic. It plays into everyday life. How you present yourself. Everything is presentation.
Yeah.
I like going back to my book. I wrote a book called The Six-Figure Magician, right?
Nice.
On how to earn 6 figures being a magician, but not just being a magician, but in any profession that is, I guess, in the entertainment industry. But you can apply a lot of this stuff, like if that book is geared towards magicians, but if you just take out the word magician and plug in DJ, dancer, singer, doesn't matter. You can apply that to your life. Presentation is key. How you present yourself walking into a room, as we spoke before, showing up on time, how you deal with the clients, how you look, how you carry yourself, you know, how you take care of your face, your hair, everything. And the book goes along all the aspects of how I got to getting paid the amount that I get paid, and how to continue getting booked, and how to set yourself aside from the rest of people in your industry. You know?
So what's the, I guess, the average in the industry, and then what is it that you're getting paid now? Like, what's that gap looking like?
It really depends. So, because there's different levels of magicians, there's like kids magic, strolling magic, stage magic, hypnotist, mentalist. They all get paid different rates. So a stage illusionist, the ones with the big flashy props, they get paid a lot. They get paid probably more than I do. That's not my thing though, right? But let's just say my field, strolling magic, maybe some stage parlor magic and stuff. The average that I've seen is about $175 to $250 for an hour or 2 hours, which is sad.
I was gonna say not
Very,
bad.
very sad. It's not bad when you think about it in terms of like people who work 9 to 5s for $10 an hour. Yeah, of course, anybody wants to make $75 to $100 an hour. You know, that'd be great for anybody. But if you've been in a profession and you want to make a living, doing one show a week for $150, or I mean $175 to $250 a week, you make $1,000. That's not going to pay your bills. It's not going to pay your gas, your food. It's not going to pay any of that. So, what I get paid, it ranges anywhere I'm not afraid to say this, $700 to $1,000 for the first initial hour. And sometimes I'll play with it. You know, it depends. You know, I look at when I ask for the event info, I find out multiple things, and this is in my book. I find out who's name of the client, their contact, their email. That's what I get. That's the first thing. I ask for the time, date, and location of the event. And sometimes they give me a generalized location, so I also ask for the address, right? You want to know where it is, because if it's in Joe Schmo's apartment, you're probably not going to charge them that much. But if they just booked out the Hilton Hotel, or they booked out a really big venue, you know that they got money to spend. So you're going to charge them a little bit more. And so that's the way I range it, you know. Okay, is this a company that's contacting me? Is it a corporate event? This is how you find it out. And so that's how I base my rate off of, because it does fluctuate. Also, if I'm working 4 events in one day and somebody asks me to do another event, I charge more the busier I am that day. Because now I got to drive from A to Z to A to Z, pick up stuff, maybe have like 9 decks of cards on me, because I rip them, as you see, I rip up my cards, I fold them up, I spit them out, things like that. So
you're amazing.
Yeah.
This guy's fire.
So talk to us about hypnosis. How does that come into play? Is that within the mind tricks, or is that something else that is within itself?
It could be by itself. I think magic as a whole, I think hypnosis is part of that. But it's kind of been separated into different avenues, because you have like hypnotherapy, you have neurolinguistic programming, which is something like Tony Robbins does. But he does some hypnosis in his shows. It may not be traditional hypnosis like swinging a watch or doing magnetic hands or fingers or stuff like that. But you have different avenues. So you have those like stage entertainment hypnosis shows. You have the hypnotherapy. You have the street hypnosis people. And then you can tie it into other stuff. You can definitely tie it into magic as well. I tied into my magic. And I also do just strolling hypnosis, where I walk around, I hypnotize people and stuff like that.
Tell me more about that. What is that? You stroll around and hypnotize people.
Yeah, I walk around the event and I will, first thing, analyzing people. So I don't greet anybody when I first walk in. Normally somebody makes a comment on my outfit, thank you so much, they ask me what I do, I'm a magician, I might show them a trick, then I continue to walk around. I'm analyzing every single person. I'm looking for someone that I think might be suggestible. And there's no real way to really tell, to be honest, but I've gotten a good handle on it. So about 10% of people will be able to be hypnotized instantaneously, right? The rest, from like 30 to 40% of people, it might take them a little bit longer. They might respond to neurolinguistic programming better, or subliminal messaging. And then the rest of the nation is just straight subliminal messaging and fear. You can hypnotize anybody through fear. Unethical, but definitely possible, 100% possible, as long as you don't have developmental issues.
What do you mean fear? How do you do the fear?
How do they control the nation? How does the media control the nation? Everything you see on the internet, everything you see on media, fear. Some negative thing that's happening. How did they get us to all wear masks? COVID, virus, people dying, wear a mask. That's how you control people. Now you instill fear into people and cause their subconscious to perform actions, right? So how you hypnotize somebody is that you break a pattern, an automatic response, right? And this automatic response may be something as a hello, it may be something as just tapping them on the shoulder and shocking them, you know, and something in the brain between the conscious and subconscious kind of swings open like a door. And for that split second, you can command it. And once you have that command in, you got them. With fear, though, you ever seen somebody in a true state of fear that they just freeze and they look like this, they just freeze automatically. People have phobias and things like that. That's true fear. What happens is every door between their subconscious and conscious blows open. And you can hypnotize someone through that alone. Or at least program them using neurolinguistic programming through that alone, through fear. So it's entirely possible to program and hypnotize anyone through that. You just have to know what their fear is.
You need to scare them, like the hiccups, kind of. Like
similarly, yeah. I don't know if that
like
necessarily works.
I don't know if it works either, but I'm saying like you tap someone on the back.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
on your
that's how you
IG,
do it.
one of the first things you have is you're hypnotizing a guy. It's like, oh, you're drunk now. Boom. And I saw you tap him on the shoulders. You hit him hard on the shoulders, and then you're 10 times more drunk now. And he went way off the deep end.
Yeah, so that's called a trigger response.
Yeah.
So when you're doing hypnosis, a lot of times you use like an anchor, or when you're using neurolinguistic programming, you use anchors. So that's touching someone. Think about it. When women are so good at this. First off, women are the best at neurolinguistic programming and subliminal messaging. It's crazy. It's like inherently biologically written in them. It's crazy.
How's your game like not on point? How are you not picking up girls left and right?
He does. Look at this.
I don't focus on that. You know, it's my focus is to better myself, build a solid financial foundation, which I'm, you know, I would say I'm stable, but I want to be grounded. I want to be rooted financially, and I want to get myself to a point where I don't have to settle.
Yeah, for sure. So
And I don't have to just go out and waste my time taking a girl out on a date that's probably not going, yeah, sure, they'll give you play. Great. Whatever. But what else? What are they offering me that is going to better my life? And a majority of the time, you're not going to find that if you're going out to bars and clubs and stuff and picking up women.
So how is it that you said that they're the best ones at it? What is it that they do?
Think about when a girl's flirting with you, what does she do? She touches you on the arm,
She grabs your
she touches
leg.
your knee, stuff like that. She anchors laughter in you. She anchors a smile in you, right? So when she goes, ha ha ha, taps you on the shoulder, on the shoulder or the arm or the knee, what do? Automatically, you smile,
Yeah.
right?
It works.
Now, every time she touches you, whether she's smiling or not, guess what happens? She touches you, you smile. Every time.
Damn.
Try it out.
I never thought about
I'm
Try to
using
notice it.
That's why, I never thought about that.
Damn.
Every time. She just anchored a subliminal message into your brain. It's crazy. And so, I'm not saying that men aren't good at this, but we're terrible at it. I definitely was. But it's true.
I feel you. Damn.
I've never thought of it that way.
You say you're into analyzing people. I think I'm pretty similar. Like, I'm always just paying attention to everybody. I got super into like Myers-Briggs personality tests. I don't know if you ever looked into that, but it breaks down everybody into like 16 personalities.
Yes, I've seen that.
So I'm instantly trying to like dissect, okay, introvert, extrovert, sensing, whatever, all the little different things that are into it. So pretty similar I mean, you do it way 100 times better, but
I don't think anybody's truly introverted or extroverted unless they have some kind of like severe trauma or phobia,
yeah.
Where they're completely introverted. But I really don't think anybody's truly introverted or extroverted.
Yeah.
You have to be both.
Exactly.
It's a cycle.
So the book says that, and the book says that you're born one of them, and then throughout your life, your goal is to bring it back towards the center, like, or flip it over. But
It's like breathing, you know? You have to, like, let's just say I stay home a lot. You know, I don't go out and stuff. So a lot of people would think that I'm extremely extroverted because of the way I carry myself, the way I talk, when I'm out performing, I'm very personable and stuff. They have no idea when I go home. That's it. I'm not hanging out with people. I'm not going out to the club. I'm not partying and none of that.
What do you like to do for fun?
Read.
Really, for fun?
Read, paint, create. I like going for like nature walks, stuff like that, trying new restaurants, traveling, which I haven't done in a few years. But those are things I like to do. Because and I've had the habit of doing this because everybody I think has, scrolling through TikTok, scrolling through Instagram. And I definitely have, especially the past year and a half, I made it a conscious choice to like stop myself from doing that. The moment I see it, I'm like, okay, I need to stop scrolling through Instagram, look for what I'm looking for, done. Put it away, pick up a book, read, or go keep my hands occupied, or do something that's going to stimulate my brain and not give me TikTok brain and the short attention span. So if I do need to look something up, let's just say I want to go on TikTok, but I want to look for something specific, like a piece of information, I'll go to TikTok, I'll go to search bar and I'll search through it, but I don't scroll anymore. Cool. I just use the search bar for informational purposes. There's a lot of good information on TikTok.
Yeah.
Like, I just learned how to use that little fucking spaghetti spatula with the hole in it. I didn't know that was to measure out a portion of spaghetti. My whole life. I didn't know that. I had that thing in the drawer. I was like, what is the hole in here for? I thought it was for like aerodynamics, like pushing around what. It's to put the pasta in, and that's one portion for one person.
I know what you're talking about.
Found that out on TikTok.
Yeah.
Still don't know about that. I don't know.
Like pasta comes in a string. If you fit it in the hole, that's a perfect amount for one person.
Oh, cool. Okay.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Interesting.
It's crazy. No, yeah. If you cultivate your Instagram or TikTok to your actual interest, and you're not on there watching like police violent videos, like you're actually trying to better yourself, learn a new skill, it can be beneficial. But you can be easily lost in any of those of those social medias.
Mindless scrolling is definitely a thing that lasts too long, I feel like.
100%. It is detrimental to the brain, which is why, like, I've noticed myself having a habit of it, and like, it ruins a lot of stuff for you. It ruins your attention span. It ruins the way that you see people. It ruins the way that you see the world. It ruins relationships and stuff, because like you'll be sitting there scrolling and your girl's there and she's like, why are you not paying attention to me? Or you're both scrolling and not paying attention to each other, where you could be having quality time with each other. And I've definitely been guilty of that. And I've definitely made it like a conscious choice to like, okay, put it down. Don't do that. Because the best interaction you can ever have will not be with a phone at the end of your life. The best interaction you can have is with another person, whether man or woman, doesn't matter. And that's where you're going to learn the most. You're not going to, granted, internet's filled with information, but there's nothing like experience with another person. That's where you learn interactions. That's where you learn all your basic skills from people. You didn't learn them from a phone.
Speaking of, you said that it's like you start to see the world different. Do you do shrooms? Have you taken mushrooms?
Hell yes.
All right, talk to me about that, because I've never done it. So I've heard that it's life-changing, and I've heard some people say that it's amazing. Some people say that it's a bad trip. Okay, since you are into the mind, what exactly does a mushroom do to the mind? Why is it so life-changing?
So, without going too deep into the science of it, it does more. Yes, it affects the mind, but it's actually receptors in your gut that it attaches to, which is why you eat it.
It's crazy.
It has to digest through the gut, and it has these receptors. It's called psilocin. That is the main component. So you have psilocybin, it breaks down in the gut to psilocin and attaches to the receptors in the gut, and it starts pumping out. And so basically you get this euphoric feeling, you get these crazy visuals, you might have a spiritual or emotional experience, depending on how much you take. Now, I've studied mushrooms before I took them intensively, right? I have over 50 books on mushrooms that I've all read. And they really will change the way that your brain works. It will change the way that your mind works. And I actually have to give mushrooms a lot of credit, along with my own ambition to be better, for where I'm at right now. because like 5 years ago, I was homeless, living in my car, had no job, no money. My dog was living in my car with me. I had nothing. Had anxiety, had depression. It was crazy. And I didn't realize that it was just my perception of my life. And a friend of mine, he was like, why don't you take mushrooms? And I was like, his name was Carlos.
How old are
Lovely
you
guy.
at this point?
25.
I was 25, yeah.
Okay.
So
Magician.
I was like, damn. Oh, well, it probably was 6 years ago. It was like 5-6 years ago. But I was like, damn, like, what am I doing with myself? So when I took it, I took such a small dose, didn't feel it. For 3 days, I didn't feel it because I was just like literally biting off. I didn't want to like have a bad trip. Like I heard the propaganda of like bad trips and it messes with your brain and stuff. The moment I had the right amount, it was a microdose. Literally complete change in my thinking. A complete change in my thinking. And it changed my perception. It changes your awareness. You know, it takes you out of whatever mode you're in, whatever mood you're in. Sometimes it heightens that mood and you're like super depressed. But for a lot of people, it's been beneficial. You know, microdosing, super, super beneficial. I take a little bit over a microdose to get that euphoric feeling, but I'm better, I'm smarter, faster, I'm physically stronger on mushrooms, 100%.
Do you think everyone should try it, or everyone should take it, or is
If
it
you
one
don't,
of those things that
I don't condone drugs or anything like that. But
now it's starting to become legal?
yeah, the way that I see it is that I think that if you don't have any kind of mental health issues, like severe ones, like bipolar, or manic depressive or anything like that, maybe it could help, but I would suggest taking it under the guise of a professional. But yeah, I think a lot of people should look into it, because when I took it, at least from my own experience, within a week, I got my ass up, went to go get a job. I started working on Painting with a Twist, being an artist. Within a few months, they made me the manager. And my mindset, like I went from I was messy too. I was a messy guy, like mess everywhere. You know, I got my apartment finally. I saved up a bunch of money. I was still messy. And then I had a really crazy trip on a big dose of mushrooms, which I don't suggest unless you're prepared for. That just changed the way I saw my life entirely. From going from a microdose to a big dose, I went from being messy to completely organized. To not only my life and my home being organized, but my thoughts. And that's kind of where this analytical thinking came from, this analyzing my environment and stuff. I started seeing things for what it truly is, the beauty of it all the colors, how rich they are, how people present themselves. You know, why are they wearing that color? What made them choose to wear a black shirt or a teal shirt? What is their personality like? That's what kicked it off, really. And my ambition and my love for the craft and stuff is what made me dive into that and get to the point at where I'm at now.
That's what's up.
Yeah, the mushrooms.
So I don't know. I feel like, man, I don't know, because that's the thing. I've never tried it because I'm not big on drugs. So when I hear that, you know, there's a chance to have a bad trip, and make sure that you're not around people that aren't a good vibe, make sure you're not in public, this and that, I'm just like, I'm good. But then I hear these stories of like completely life-changing. How does it go from your stomach to changing your brain and the way that you think?
I don't want to say anything that is
no, if you don't know,
like,
it's fine. I'm just
not
wondering.
completely factual, but
I just wonder
from
how
what
it doesn't become like addicting.
No, it doesn't.
'Cause that's what I'm wondering. Like if it goes from your stomach to your brain, it changes your mind. Now the next day, you don't want to take it again. Like you don't want that feeling again, or does it just continue?
I think a lot of people do want that feeling. I think that anybody could be addicted to anything, you know, and too much of a good thing, regardless of how many benefits you take from it, is a bad thing. You know, an Advil will cure your headache, but if you take too much, it'll create ulcers in your stomach. You know, so like take it within like moderation. You know, I definitely at some point went overboard with mushrooms, and I was taking a lot. And I found that happy medium of taking microdoses have been so helpful to my life. How I wrote my book, I wrote it on mushrooms. I took a little bit more than a microdose that night, but I literally typed that entire book, I want to say in about 4.5 hours.
No way.
4.5 hours.
No way, dog.
What a trip.
And then it took me sober to edit it fully, like the grammar, change a few things that I didn't like around, add some stuff. 2 days. But the initial like 49, 50 pages, all I felt like a supercomputer while
Have you
I was doing
ever
it.
like performed some tricks while on shrooms?
No, absolutely not. I'm someone that I like to do it in the comfort of my home, where I'm comfortable, where I know I'm safe, at a time where I don't need to go anywhere, you know, and I don't do it around people at all, because I don't want to feel any kind of discomfort with, okay, I'm acting this way in front of this person, maybe they're feeling comfortable or whatever the case may be, because I am a little giddy. I am a little, like, my eyes are twitching back and forth, and I'm like writing. Like a lot of times when I'm on mushrooms, I write. Like I just write and write and write and write. I love writing, or I'm reading and I'm studying, or I'm creating something, you know? So I get into the zone, and people could tell. You could tell when I'm on mushrooms. I'm just like zoned, like hyper focused.
No, I've looked into the science, and it makes your brain more neuroplastic, meaning like you can learn brand new things, like new connections in your brain that have never been there before. By taking mushrooms, you're able to tap into a side of yourself that you've never been able to attack while sober. So
Yeah, 100%. It increases your neuroplasticity and gray matter in the brain, which is the parts of your brain where you learn new things. So Paul Stamets, which is the leading mycologist in the world, which is the scientist on mushrooms, he came up with something called a Stamets stack, which is a microdose of mushrooms, lion's mane extract, and niacin. And that's what I've been taking. I try to do it the way that he says to do it, which is 3 weeks on for 3 days a week, 4 days off. So it's 3 days on, 4 days off. You do that for 3 weeks. You take 2 weeks off, and then you go back to doing it. It's a cycle. And it helps, you know, you build this neuroplasticity in your brain. It helps you create new connections. It helps strengthen the connections that you already have for any skill set that you have. So that's another thing. It's the reason why I'm able to read so many books and apply the things in the books to my everyday life. You know, so many people read books and they don't apply shit to it, or they read fiction and stuff. I don't read fiction. I'm a fan of fiction movies, but I do not read fiction at all. So
Interesting.
yeah, I've never read a fiction book.
Yeah,
Only
I'm not
ever
into
read
that.
like somebody talking about their past, their history, the self-help, something like
do you
that.
have a favorite
same.
book?
Do I have a favorite book? I like Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. It teaches you about
I read that one.
different people, that this is how they became the best, that you're like, they're born in the right spot. They're kind of lucky at the same time. But I would say the main principle out of the book is like, if you're not doing the work, he harps on the 10,000 hour rule. Like if you're not putting in 10,000 hours into your craft, you're never going to be a master.
Yes, 100%. And I think that's something I'm going to add to my book now, because it's an ebook. It's not like a physical copy yet. I haven't sold enough to actually print them out. So it's just an ebook on Penguin Magic. Shout out to Penguin Magic. So basically, so I've put thousands of hours into magic, right? The reason why it took me so long to get to this point is because I didn't put that same amount of time into the business aspect, to the marketing aspect, to the branding and stuff like that. And so a lot of people, they become such, I wouldn't say professionals, but they become experts at their craft. They master their craft, right? And then they're like, I don't know why my paintings are not selling. I don't know why I'm not booking as many gigs. I don't know why this. And it's because they're not applying that same time, because it's not easy being a master painter, a master singer, athlete. It's not easy doing any of those things. You make mistakes, you get back up, you try again, you keep going. They don't do that in a business aspect. So you have to apply at least, I would say, 10 minutes a day. 10 minutes a day. Read a page in a self-help book. You know, read a page on different business books, taxes, on, you know, what kind of corporation are you going to open? What kind of company are you going to open? An LLC, S Corp, C Corp. You know, some people don't like reading. There's audiobooks you can listen to while you're driving. It's not that hard to get the information. And if you apply yourself just 10 minutes a day, if you don't have that attention span because you have TikTok brain, 10 minutes. 10 minutes will help you out initially. And 10 minutes, I mean, I don't know how many hours that is in a year. It's a lot of time. And by the end of the year, you'll be better than the average person that didn't apply shit.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I did. That's why it took me so long to get to this point, because I didn't do that at first. I was like, why the fuck am I not getting booked? I know I'm a good magician, at least, you know? Why are people not hiring me? Why am I not getting paid what I think I deserve?
So is the business side something that you learned on your own, or did someone try to like teach you or guide you through that?
I learned it through trial and error. I opened up my first business when I was like 22. I opened up a company, a karate school actually, called Twin Tigers Leadership Academy. And that was my first business. And I spent a lot of money opening it up, buying, you know, the gis for all the kids. And I was the only employee. And then it built. I had about, I want to say 40 students. And that was enough. I was making money.
It's a crazy amount of kids.
Yeah, I was making money. And I needed another, like, teacher. And I didn't know how to hire people. I didn't know that I needed an EIN number to, like, hire people. I didn't know that I had to have them fill out a W-2 form or W-4. I didn't know about any of that stuff. I ended up selling that business. And I lived off the money. I opened up another business, failed. Another one, failed. And I learned from each one. I now own a bar called Strokes Art Bar. It's a paint studio and a bar. I told you I worked at Painting with a Twist, and that's where I started. I decided to open up a different concept. So I was actually an exotic dancer for 2.5 years. And I came up with this idea of doing painting and stripping. And it went viral.
Painting and stripping? Like
Painting and stripping.
Like you're painting while the person is stripping? Like you're painting?
No. So it was, we had a ladies' night, right? And we would hire like dancers that I worked with, right? And so we just advertised, oh, we're doing ladies' night paint while watching exotic dancers, right? And we came with a catchy slogan with it, posted it, and basically we walked around with aprons, shirtless, and I taught a class. And then after the class, we put on a 30-minute, like, exotic dance show. And non-nude, you know, and women went crazy. Next week, we did it again. The next week, we did it again. And then next thing you know, I was on Deco Drive, and they did a segment on me, on the event. And my business partners now, who are friends of mine, and I was telling them about it, and they were like, you need to do it yourself. And I was like, I would love to, but I only have X amount of money. That's not enough to start a business. And they were like, well, you know, try to figure it out. It's literally what they told me. 2 hours later, my business partner calls me, and he's like, why don't we go into an equal partnership and we'll put the money forward and invest in you? And I was like, yeah, say less, like 100%. And in a process of opening this place, which we're not open officially yet, but in the process of opening this place, I learned so much that could have saved some of the other businesses that I opened. For instance, rent abatement. Not a lot of people know what that is.
What did you say?
Rent abatement.
Rent abatement, okay.
So on any commercial property, you can negotiate price per square foot, and you can negotiate what we call rent abatement, free rent. So let's just say you sign a lease for 5 years, right? And you need some time to open up, right? The landlords want their money, right? They want to get paid, and the only way they're going to get paid is if you're successful. So a lot of what they'll do is they'll be like, okay, you sign a lease for 5 years. You can send in what we call letter of intent, an LOI, stating what you want. I want this space for this price per square footage, but I want 3 months of free rent to open up. It might take you a month, but you're asking for 3, right? They'll either counter with 2, or I'm not giving you rent abatement, or whatever the case may be. Is you can also negotiate, we won't pay for the first 3 months, but we'll pay it at the end of the fiscal year, right? So you're 3 months ahead now. So that's something a lot of people don't know, and I learned that through experience, not through reading a book. I haven't read that in any book about rent abatement.
Yeah.
And that's something you learn in the process of doing stuff, working with brokers, realtors, real estate agents. So it's things like that. Like that's where I've kind of learned a lot of like my business and stuff. It's just trial and error. Listening to people like Grant Cardone, Tony Robbins, getting in to these conventions, these business conventions, listening to them talk, listening to their mistakes and not making the same ones. There's so much good information from the people who've already experienced it. And when you take the action to do it, you're probably going to fail your first time. And then you eventually succeed if you keep going. You just don't make the same fucking mistake.
Yeah, you learn a lot through other people's experiences, for sure. Especially when you're out there, like you said, shaking hands instead of just trying to find everything on Google. Sometimes you gotta like really go out there and meet people.
Yeah, you wouldn't know half the stuff that could be done in business, or forget business, for instance, like even relationships. You don't learn relationships from a book. You don't learn how to read emotions from a book. You learn it by watching other people interact, by interacting with other people. And that first person is your mom, your dad, if you have parents, or your brother and your sister. You're looking at their facial expressions. You're looking at how they interact with other people and what made them sad, what made them mad. And so that in itself is how I carry myself into business, is that I'm not just going to read a book and be like, okay, this is how it is. I'm just going to apply myself. And if some shit goes down, okay, well, I learned my lesson this time and I won't do it again.
Yeah,
it's huge. It's big time. I mean, you're going to have to get that experience one-on-one with people. Mm-hmm. You're never going to get it entirely from a book or YouTube videos.
Yeah, you're like the exact person that I was looking for when I started this, because it's people like us that we need to like go against what people say and go our own road, and down that road you're gonna learn so many things that nobody else would have taught you if you didn't take that road. Mm-hmm. And you're not scared to go down that road at all. Like you said, you started a couple businesses and some of them failed, but you learned, and now look where you are, which is it goes to show that if you keep trying and keep learning, you're just gonna be ahead of the game.
Yeah, and networking with the right people.
And definitely like separating yourself from most and dedicating so much time to learning and reading. And what is the thing that you mentioned that you had? I think it's called brand.
Oh, okay. So I actually brought these for you guys.
Because that's another thing, like the shrooms that we were talking about.
So this
interesting
is
stuff that
a nootropic. So nootropics are basically supplements for the brain. They help your brain work more efficiently. This product called Brain, I actually have a link on my link tree. You can order it from there. It's actually not my link, it's somebody else's link. Because I'm not part of the company or anything like this, but I take these religiously.
How do you take these?
So basically, just give you some insight, it works within 2 minutes. After 2 minutes, you'll feel yourself alert. If you have pain anywhere in your body, it's an anti-inflammatory, so it's instantaneously. So I had like soreness on my back earlier, and I took this and it kind of went away. I took it the day before. It lessened the pain. Like my pain was like a 10 because my freaking traps were sore, and it brought it down to like a 6. You know, but that in itself is amazing.
That's a big
you know, and to happen within 2 minutes, I love this stuff. So the way you take it is like, you see the slit on the back?
Yeah.
You're just gonna kind of bend this slightly, super slightly, and put it up to your mouth, like open, and then you're just gonna snap it while it's up to your mouth and squeeze it. It's gonna shoot straight into your mouth, and you just suck all the liquid out. It's only I would say about 2 ounces in here.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Are we taking a shot?
Yeah, let's go.
All right.
Oh shit!
You gotta drink it, bro. You gotta suck it out.
This guy's alert. It tastes like a coffee, kind of. Caramel macchiato.
Yeah. So, I use nootropics. Like, I'm all about biohacking. Because doing what I do, I have to have my brain on point.
What's biohacking?
Basically, anything that's going to enhance your biology. So whether it be your brain with neuroplasticity, you know, something as simple as drinking your pre-workout with creatine, that's biohacking. You know, that's how you gain bigger muscles.
Yeah.
You know, steroids, anabolic steroids, that's biohacking.
Yeah.
It's all biohacking. So I'm big on biohacking with the brain, like using nootropics and stuff like that to keep myself like at the peak performance that I need to be. You know, because if I go on stage and I'm like skipping over myself and not knowing what to say, or I forget like what I'm gonna do for the next trick, like, or I forget the person's name that I'm presenting, that would suck.
I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel like that's big in, I bartend and I serve, so I feel like that's big in that industry too. I feel like it's an Adderall from what you're describing. Do you take Adderall or no?
No. I feel like Adderall I have taken Adderall. I just feel like it has a lot of side effects that I didn't like.
I tried it once, but it was, I don't know if it was too intense for me, but I just felt like too over-focused, and I was thinking too much about how I was feeling as opposed to like getting stuff done. So I just never really
Yeah, I don't like it much. I prefer nootropics or microdosing. That's also what I use to keep focused and whatnot.
So how do you microdose if the effects last so long? Like you said, you take it 3 times a week?
Yeah, so...
Or do you take smaller amounts so it doesn't hurt?
You don't really feel a microdose too much. You'll start to notice by week 3 on a microdose, on a true microdose, by week 3, you start to notice you're incrementally better at certain things, that you're happier, that you just perceive things a little bit better. And little by little, it keeps getting better and better and better. And the more you take it, the better. I feel like a freaking it's not butter commercial, it's better.
Yes.
Interesting. Shrooms, what a trippy drug.
Yeah. I can make people feel like they're on drugs with hypnosis.
Yeah, let's go back to that hypnosis. I saw a bunch of videos of you like making people fall asleep. How do you do that?
How I explained it to you before, it's just you break a pattern.
But I've never seen anyone go to sleep like that.
Never met a hypnosis.
How do you turn someone
a
off?
lot of my videos, like I said, those are the reactions. So I actually, that guy that was like falling drunk, because he wasn't drunk at all. That video in itself was, I think, about 17 minutes long.
Whoa.
Yeah. because there was a lot of processes that I have to do beforehand, which is what we call the induction, right? And now I could do it instantaneously, like I don't need 17 minutes. With him, he needed a little bit extra, like coercion into that relaxation state. But it was 17 minutes long, so I kind of just take the best parts of where they're already been under hypnosis with me for at least a couple minutes. And then what you're seeing is the aftermath. What you're seeing is the, like,
Escalation.
they're already under, so I can just say sleep and they're out. It's not like I could just walk up to someone and be like, sleep. You know,
I thought you
it
did
doesn't work
something
like
with
that.
their hand. I thought you shake their hand and then they like
Yeah,
touch something.
that's honestly, some of that is just dramatics, to be honest. Because I could just say the word sleep and they'll go to sleep. But it kind of, it anchors
way.
and strengthens the command.
So you could make someone go to sleep, like, just like that?
Yeah. Just about, it's not really sleep though.
What is it? What do you go into?
The command sleep is just telling the brain, do this. And so it's not sleep, it's a state of relaxation and focus, right, that they're in. So when I say sleep, what do you do when you go to sleep? What's the first thing you do?
Close your eyes.
Exactly. You close your eyes, and what do? You relax. That's why it's such a powerful command, and that's why you see so many hypnotists use this command. It's not that the actual person's going to sleep, it's that the brain goes, oh, I know how to do this. Close my eyes and relax. And so the brain goes into this state of being able to now subconsciously take in, programming. So for instance, there's a couple states of hypnosis. There's hypnagogic and hypnopompic. I might confuse these two, but I believe hypnopompic is when you are coming from a sleeping state to a waking state. It's that state in between, right when you like first open your eyes, like you don't really know what's going on. Have you ever like woken up and someone's like immediately talking to you and you're like, what the fuck did you just say? You know, it sounds like they said, oh, the purple elephants just ate ham and cheese. Like, and even though they just said, hey, you want to go to the gym?
Yeah.
Like, and it is a hypnagogic state, which is a state of from going from awake to going to sleep. And it's that in-between state. And so you can hypnotize people through that. But there's different states, and that state in which their brain is in is the same exact state as waking hypnosis that I do, that you see on my social media.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah, you
This is-
putting
this is-
people in a trance.
To me, this is way past magic. At least the magic that I know of is the magic of, the card tricks and making things appear,
Yeah.
illusions, stuff like that.
It's definitely, you make it look like magic because people don't know how to do it, right? So, but if everybody knew how to do card tricks, nobody would be amazed. Nobody would think it's magic.
So what if everyone thought the way that you think? What if everyone knew what
No, the
magicians
world would be a better
know?
place.
Hey,
You think so?
hey.
Absolutely.
So we would all be able to just read each other and be good.
I think there would be a singularity aspect of everybody cohesively working together and being like, okay, I see you.
Yeah,
I see how you're feeling.
I feel you on that.
We're going to work for the betterment of both of us or all of us and stuff. But the world's not like that because everybody has their own individual traumas and personalities and the way that they're raised and this crazy society we live in. So,
Yeah.
So what about the performances or the events that you have coming up? What's the big one for you? Because I saw a video of you on Instagram where you're chained up and you're jumping into a pool and you're getting and you're preparing for something. So I'm just wondering.
so that was the...
we talked about tricks, the mind, and now I see you doing this crazy stuff, like more like David Blaine things. So
Yeah, so the stunts, that was, that was a long time ago I did that. Like a lot. I think it was like over 6 years ago.
yeah, that was a while ago.
I've been working on that for years now. And so when I was finally ready, when I had all the money to get the tank, COVID hit, and I had multiple choices to make. I was like, okay, I can either invest this money into a home or a business, or I can invest in the tank. I decided to invest it in, like, you know, little stocks here and there. Bitcoin was one of them as well. And so I put down a deposit on the tank. And so that's really what I've been focusing on, is like holding my breath underwater, things like that. That's what I was gonna do. Underwater for 7 days. Mm-hmm. Wanted to do it at the Hard Rock. Hard Rock, if you guys are down, 100%. I definitely...
Let's make it happen.
Yeah, hit up our boy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a show. Tell them exactly how it would go down. So
underwater for 7
Hard
days.
Rock.
7 days.
So Hard Rock, listen up. He wants to be in the pool?
No. So it'd be a 3,000 gallon tank.
That's the tank that you got?
Yes.
So he's providing the tank.
It's about 7.5 feet high, filled with water. I'll be inside with obviously a respirator. It's gonna feed me oxygen. There'll be a filtration system in there because obviously my skin cells are gonna be deteriorating while I'm in there. Have ambulance on scene, paramedics on scene, 24/7.
This sounds like a great event for Hard Rock.
It'll be live streamed 24/7. This is what I want.
Mm-hmm.
People can just pull up and
People can pull up and say hi and wave and stuff, and I'll have a little board where I can write on and respond to people. I'll give exclusive interviews to certain media outlets.
The Miami Hustle?
Why not? And then on the last day, I want to be chained up and basically have the oxygen taken away and escape being chained up. Now, this is kind of an homage to David Blaine, because he's already done this and accomplished this. But I'm not trying to hold my breath for a long time. That's the difference. My goal is to... I'm not going to tell you exactly what I want to do, because it's kind of going to spoil like the big thing, but I want to escape from it in a way that no one has ever escaped from a water tank, in fully surrounded, in full view of everybody. No smoke, no mirrors, none of that. Fully surrounded.
You're gonna escape.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
No cover, no nothing, just escape. Vanish.
Basically.
Where are you gonna end up? Like, not there?
I don't know.
Nah, it's super
excited.
interesting.
So
We gotta
I
set
actually
this
have
up.
multiple stunts that I want to do. That's just one of, I believe, 7. I want to be buried alive.
Oof.
For how many days?
7. I want to be buried alive, but I want to do it
Same
the
tank?
right way.
Or
No, different tank. I want to do a crystal casket. I want to put it underground. I don't think I could do it in Florida because of the sea levels and
There's
stuff
not
like
too
that.
much underground, yeah.
But basically, I want to build a trench with reverse. In the crystal casket, it'll have reverse tints, so I can't see out, but you could see in. And there'll be dirt on top of me inside of this entire glass cylinder, this acrylic cylinder. And you guys can see me in there, just laying in there 7 days straight, and then I'm just gonna come out of it.
So what?
It's a way of pushing my body to the limits.
Yeah.
Also, another homage to David Blaine, because he did it, but with a massive water tank on top of him, and I just wanted to do it with dirt, like the way that it was originally made.
So to you, it's not about who's watching. It's more about I'm pushing my body and my mind to the limits.
Yeah. And a lot of people are like, why? Why are you doing this? And partially, it's because ever since I was a kid, I always pushed myself past limits. Like, I'll work out till I'm like throwing up. I'm like, if I'm doing reps and stuff, I always tell myself one more, and then one more, and I don't stop until I'm fucking failing or choking on a freaking bench press and somebody has to help me. And like, I love pushing my body because I want to know, like, I can create this. This is mine.
Yeah.
I get to decide what this thing does. I am not my body. I am the thing that controls this body. And so it does what I tell it to do. And so that's what I want to do. I want to push myself past limitations and also show people that you can push past these limits of things that you never imagined were possible. No one thought that you could hold your breath for freaking 24 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever record David Blaine made. Holding your breath 24 minutes? What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
What
crazy.
What he explained was that it is crazy, but there's actually a way to train your body and your mind to do that. Like
Yeah.
you said, there's no limits really. It's not about what you've been told you can do. It's more of like find within yourself what you actually can do.
Yeah, I've heard
100%.
most people quit at 30, 40%. Like, you got more than half in the tank that when you quit, like, you're not even close to your limits. And I think what you're doing is, like, an inspiration to everybody. Like, damn,
Yeah.
if he can do that, bro, there's so much more that I'm failing in my regular life that I can apply more effort and get through anything that I'm working
And that's something like what you just said, like you have to not just apply it to your business life, your personal life, you know, and that's something I'm still working on. You know, the way in people like, I'm really good at communicating in a professional setting. You know, I'm really good with being interpersonal, right? In my relationships, I feel like I kind of failed in a sense because I didn't work on it. And it actually, my last relationship was kind of like that. I realized that people don't communicate the same way. Our brains work very similarly and almost the same way, but the way in which we communicate is different. Someone that was raised, you know, in a hood is not going to communicate the same way that someone was raised in Beverly Hills. You know, my experiences from living in the projects in New York is not the same experiences as somebody who lived in a good neighborhood in a mansion. And so we see the world differently, we perceive it differently, and we communicate differently, right? And we trigger each other differently. And that's something I had to learn, is that you have to learn how to communicate like different people. Because, for instance, reasons why we have lawyers is because we don't know the lingo of the courtroom.
Have you read How to Win Friends and Influence People?
Yes, I actually have that book.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It
Talks about exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and you just have to learn how to communicate. But where, like I said, where I lacked at was my relationships. And it's one of those things where I was like, okay, this is what I need to work on. And I'm always trying to better myself. I'm always trying to push myself to like be better, do better, and also hold the people in my circle to a higher standard. If your boy's fucking up, hold him to a higher standard. You know, if he's saying he's always broke and he's going out to the club every weekend spending his paycheck, hold him to a higher standard or drop him. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And I think that we, as a society, we need to hold each other to a higher standard because, yo, the world's going to shit.
I got a question for you. Speaking of the world going to shit, and speaking about also like how you were saying that our body is just something that we use, but it's the mind that's in control, and that's really who we are. What do you think happens once the body is no more and we pass over? Where does the mind go?
Deep.
That's a difficult question because I'm still on the fence about a few things about my belief system. So I grew up in a very Catholic Christian setting. You know, my parents are very religious, and so I'm not. You know, I coined myself an atheist by the time I was like 10. You know, I didn't believe in God. When I took mushrooms, I still don't believe in God. But I do believe that there is a source. Especially after I took mushrooms. I had this crazy trip that just
Like an
completely
energy source?
rattled me and rattled my core beliefs. So I think there's like a source somewhere that we're getting something from. And that maybe when we die, we go to this higher, this one consciousness. Maybe we come back and are reincarnated, or I really don't know. Like, that's a question that I don't think anybody knows unless you died and you came back and you remember all of it, you know?
Yeah,
But
no, it's a tough
I think a
question.
lot of
It's
this
just
stuff out there is a bunch of like hogwash. like that kid that claims that he died and came back as a prophet and stuff. Like, I don't believe that shit
I don't know what that is.
in a heartbeat. He apparently died, came back to life, and he said he spoke to God and saw God, and he started becoming like quote unquote prophet. And he was explaining the afterlife, and they made a movie out of it, they made a book out of it. It was crazy, but I just like, there was just so many holes in it that I was just like, bunch of BS. But also, what's true to you is not true to me. You know, only believe things that are in your experience, right? So if I tell you I saw a ghost and you don't believe in ghosts because you've never seen one, right? You're not going to believe me. You're not going to truly believe ghosts are real just because I told you a ghost is real.
I mean, if you're my best friend, I'll believe it though.
Well, you might believe that I saw a ghost.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean
Oh,
that
it doesn't
you
mean they're
believe
real.
that.
I understand.
Doesn't mean that you believe in ghosts.
Gotcha.
I might be schizophrenic, or I might have just been hallucinating or dreaming, like in that hypnopompic state.
Yeah. 6 grams of mushrooms in.
Yeah, you know, like anything. And so, like,
saw a ghost, bro.
you know, I think truth is just in your experience.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I agree.
I really couldn't answer that question. That was a good one. That was a good one, though.
I just threw it out there because
You seem spiritual.
You've studied so much about the mind, and you've taken shrooms and you microdose it. So I just curious on what your thought process was on that. But
sure.
what about aliens?
Ooh.
I'll give you my thought process. I think I don't know, obviously, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little bit of alien like within all of us or within some of us.
100%. I kind of believe that.
It's hard for me to believe that humans actually came from Earth. When you look at Earth, you see nature's beautiful, animals are beautiful, but animals don't create. Trees don't create. You know, like elephants, zebras, cheetahs, all these animals, they're born, then they hunt, then they reproduce, and then they die. But we're out here creating. We're different.
I think that, you know, some people have a theory that Darwin's theory of evolution is false. I think it's real. And the only reason why is saying that is because at your basic core, what are you? Like, when you're born, what are you born with? Nothing.
Instincts. I mean,
But just, you're born with senses, that's it. You can see, you can hear, you can taste, you can smell, and you can feel. That's it. You're not born with a cell phone in your hand, you're not born with clothes, you're not born with any of that, right? So, the way I think is that you're experiencing the world through these senses, through your sense of sight, smell, hearing, taste, and feel, and you're taking that in. You're taking all this is all information that you're taking in. When you there's a cool little theory is that you know what everything feels like on your tongue. Think about it.
true.
Yeah, right? It's because as a baby, you licked almost everything. So when you're like experiencing the world and taking in this information into your brain, oh, that's hot, don't touch that. Oh, that's cold, that's really cold stuff. Now you become an adult, right? And now what I think you're supposed to do is take your lifetime experience, and after you procreate and create a child, right? You're supposed to condense your experience and give it to your child. And now they have your experience, your lifetime of work, of taking in information that you taught them, you know, plus their entire life of taking in new information that you can't because you're old and you're dying or whatever the case may be is. And now they do that to their children and their children and their children. Before you know it, we're evolving to something else.
You're building on top of other people's successes, applying them to yourself. It's one of my next tattoos I want to get is I stand atop the shoulders of giants. Somebody, I think it was might have been Plato or somebody like that they said, like, I'm only as smart as I am because I've read and I've studied other people that have done the things before me, and I can build on top of that. But if you were a blank slate, you would have no chance to accomplish anything. You would have to re-accomplish everything before you what they've done. So
yeah, so that's why I think like that's like the purpose of like
being a human, definitely.
Yeah, just like moving forward. And I feel like, you know, if we're aliens, maybe that's our purpose to evolve.
Oh yeah.
Or maybe I have no idea. I have no idea.
I think creating and evolving is what we're born to do as humans.
For sure.
It's the only thing. It's what we're best at. Even people like that's why again I started the Miami Hustle is because you want to follow your passion, not just work and then live. Because your passion is where magic happens. Like everyone has something special inside of them because they were meant to create something.
Yep. And you can do things so many times. The more you practice something like the 10,000 hour rule, the more it gets easier, regardless whether it's physical, mental, emotional, any of these things that you apply yourself to, it gets easier. Or maybe you build tolerance to it. I don't know, but like, I just think
it gets easier. I think what most people lack are reps compared to somebody else. The other person is just better at you at whatever because they've done it more and they've failed more than you have.
Like for instance, if you look at my hands, right? Try pulling back any of my fingers.
Pulling back?
Yeah, I'm not double jointed. Like you can pull back as far as you can. That's as far as it goes.
Okay.
Right? Now, we know that if I was double jointed, my finger would go all the way back. I'm gonna do something that is completely different. You're probably not gonna catch this on camera, but you will hear it.
Okay.
Okay? Watch.
Oh shit! What the fuck? How do you do that? No.
Yeah.
He bent his whole finger.
Yo, did you just break your pinky?
I heard it crack,
Yeah.
bro. Stop that! Whoa! No.
So I can only do that once a day, right?
What the fuck?
Did you just?
You broke it
Is that
at
how
the
people break
like.
Yeah,
pinky?
I broke it at the joint.
Yo,
I'm not double jointed, promise you.
are you just sit there breaking your fingers at home? Like,
No,
Study
I
this.
I bet.
yeah, I
but
just
I mean,
like
damn.
I wanted to try something and I just
Bro,
and my
I
finger
heard.
swelled
I
up
heard
the
it.
first time.
I heard it crack. Like it literally. You broke it in front of me.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
that
Do
takes.
you guys want to
some
try some
guts,
suggestibility test?
bro. What is that?
Suggestibility test. This is how I find
that? What does that
my
mean?
people
Let's
for
put you
hypnosis.
hypnosis.
Yeah.
Oh, can I go
That's-
pee
that's-
before
that's-
you
Go
try
pee, go
one?
pee. Yeah.
I'm gonna go.
Bro, there's so much that has happened in this episode. I can't believe, like, random thought, but I can't believe you just, like, broke your pinky mid-episode. Mid-episode.
It's good.
I see it.
The first time I ever did it, my whole freaking side of my hand swelled up. It was like bruised and stuff. Now,
And why would you,
if
why
I were
would
to
you
do it
try
again,
to do it again after that experience, though? That's the thing. Is
I wanted to be able to do it.
You just knew that it is possible, so that's what pushed you to do it again?
Yeah, I mean, the same way I told you that I do like the freak show stunts where I stick needles in my face, eat glass, cry glass. I pull needles out of my stomach on a thread.
No, you're amazing. You're literally amazing.
Thank you. I
In my
appreciate
opinion, again, magicians out there, if you're a magician, let me know because you're slacking. Like compared to Mason out
Let
here,
me know.
you're slacking. I haven't seen you out here. Please let me know because we need more magicians out here.
I do think that there's better magicians out there.
Yeah.
I just applied the same, like I said, the same amount of hours in my craft to the business side. And so I have more publicity than the average magician.
True.
And my presentation, I believe, is better than 90% of the people, at least in Florida.
Well, thank you for coming out here because now you're able to tell those magicians that are amazing, but like behind the scenes that no one knows about. You're able to show them how you did it, and if you want to shout out your book again and where they could find it so they could read about that too, because
Yeah.
I feel like your book is what's gonna get the magician that I'm saying is slacking right now. You know, my bad, but maybe you got to read his book to get on his level, or just reach out to Miami Hustle. We got you. So, what was the book and where could you get it?
So it's actually not just for magicians. For any performer, you can apply it to any entertainment industry that you're in, whether it's DJ, singing, dancing, whatever. It's called the 6-Figure Magician, and you can find it on penguinmagic.com. It's, I want to say, one of the largest magic platforms in the world, actually. It's like one of 3, yeah. So,
That's interesting.
And where can we find you?
where you can find me?
Yeah, like for the people listening.
Oh, Maison JTV. It's spelled MaisonJayTV. It's spelled Maison.
And
I just don't say it like that.
What does Miami mean to you? now that you're here in the city?
So I don't live in Miami, but Miami's kind of like a tiny New York, just better. When people think, Florida, they always think Miami, because that's where everybody comes to. It's the tourist capital. It's awesome. So like, Miami is just kind of like, for me, it's a place where you could build. It's a place where you could build. There's so much here to build off of. There's so much money here, so much like talent out here that, I've seen some of the most talented people in Miami. I mean, look at all the rappers that come out here, or the rappers that came from here, or artists that came from here. We have Art Basel. Some of the most talented people live here.
Yeah, Music Week too.
Yeah, some of the most talented people live here.
Athletes.
Yeah,
Everybody's
and
from here.
to me, it's just a place to build yourself. It's that you isolate yourself, you do it, you apply it to your craft, and then you apply it to the business aspect. You're gonna do great. You're gonna do amazing here.
So that's how I feel too. That's what most people say too. I feel like it's a city of opportunity, especially in Florida.
100%. I could have said it a lot less words
No,
like
you
that.
killed it. You killed it.
Well, I'm born and raised in Miami, and I ask that to every one of our guests. So trust me, I've been able to narrow it down to it is especially in Florida. Like in America, I believe it is as well. It's one of the top cities. Like there's LA, New York, Miami, but in Florida, it is the city of opportunity. Like if you're in Florida and you want to find opportunity, you can find a lot of beautiful, great things in Florida. But if you're looking for opportunity, then you're gonna find it in Miami.
Ironically, that makes it the best city in America, because America is the land of opportunity. So
There you go. It's the best city in the world.
it is the best city in the world.
I can't argue with you on that. It is like the best city in the nation for opportunity.
Nothing like it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, again, thank you so much for coming
For real,
out.
bro.
You're
Thank you,
definitely
man.
gonna join us again. Hopefully soon. The sooner the better, because we're gonna have some good conversations.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh, I can't
Until
wait.
next
Yeah.
time.
I love stuff like this. So.
Hell yeah, man.
Perfect.
All right.
Sounds
Till
good.
next time.